We've had 27, 28 years of governments who every single one of them, gone Tory, Labour, right, swapping it about. Every manifesto that they got voted in on has said, we are going to reduce immigration. So that's been their policy. They've just never done it. And that guy was an interpreter helping, when we were out there helping the people in Afghan, when the Taliban were pretty nasty. So when we've come out of that situation, if we left him there, it would probably end nastily for him. That man was granted asylum in our country. I kind of think that's fair. You've assumed I'm talking about people that you know. I'm not talking about people you know. I'm talking about people that are in the £4 billion a year hotels that we put people into that are the asylum seekers. Right. You're going, well, that doesn't make sense. God grant it serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the knowledge to know the difference. Right? Now, if you didn't put that on any aspect of your life, can I change what's going on in Gaza? The answer is no, I can't. No. Right? Can I change in Holyrood? What's happening in America with Donald Trump or whoever's in charge there? No, I can't. Can I change the constitutional question of Scotland in the next parliamentary cycle? Actually, the answer is no.
So, welcome to Social Sessions. Today, we're joined with Craig Houston, the leader of the SDP, the Social Democratic Party. How are you doing, Craig?
Very well. You, Sean?
No, great to have you. Listen, it's good to, and obviously we don't align politically, right? And what I'm hoping today here is show that we can agree on more than we disagree, and show that there still is an art for healthy debate.
100%.
The two can talk about our differences, talk about where we think things are going. So I'll just kind of take you back to your own kind of childhood and stuff. So where did you grow up, Craig?
I was born in Paisley, maternity, because the family we lived in Linwood at the time. I spent about the first 12 years of my life there. Scottish Special Council housing estate, and then lived through the closure of the plant, the car plant in Linwood at the time. Devastated the place. Thankfully, I've been through Linwood a few times, and it does seem to be finding its feet again, which is great, but devastated that place. My own dad, we were running a few families that didn't work in the car plant. But we had neighbours who maybe the dad was a foreman, the boy was an apprentice, the mother worked in the canteen, the daughter worked in the accounts department or something, and the whole place shut. The whole town was basically built for that car plant. So my dad was a draftsman. He worked in the Clyde, and each job it was further down the Clyde. So he ended up working in down in Greenock and Port Glasgow and the likes. So my sister, she was born in Branch Street, Kinnan Park, and that's kind of where my dad's family are from. And they moved out there closer to my dad's work, and I was born there. And then, as I say, with the devastation of that place, we took benefit of buying a council house like many folk did back then. And then with my dad, my grandfather had a business when he came back for the war, and he took ill health, so he had to take my dad to help with the business. And my dad was like an unknown entrepreneur. He was very good at it, but he was flung into it by default. He didn't come through school thinking but he was a very, very shrewd businessman, and he built the business for the foundations my grandfather created. Got a bit better off, and we moved to Bridge of Weir, which was like mad, right? It was going for two different ends of the spectrum. And I remember the house that we sold in Linwood was 25 grand, and the house we bought was 100 grand, and this was in the 80s. And I've still got pals and things for Linwood, and one of them was telling us, see that old house of yours are like 180 grand now. So you use that today, it was like going for that to like $750,000 quid house. That's a big difference, demographically. And I then moved into a sort of posh area. So I've seen, and I stayed there, I was 21, get married, moved into Glasgow, and kind of lived in Glasgow majority of my life since then. But I can talk to most people now, and I've had a career in sales for many years, and I think the fact that I'd seen both sides of the spectrum, that I don't have a problem. I can talk with millionaires and billionaires, I can talk with a guy in the street, I don't really have any issues, I was really, when I moved first from Linwood to Bridge of Weir, I had a bit of a chip machine, but they think they're better than me. And it took me a wee while to adjust and think, oh, they're just the same. But the irony, we were talking about some things off camera before we started, and it's mad that the kids that were kids in Linwood and the kids in Bridgewere, I know more that have had drug issues and even went to jail for drug dealing, etc., that were for the posh. Now, that might just be weird, right? I'm not saying that's the same as everybody's experiences, but that was the experiences I had in later life. And I was, such and such is getting a nick, or such and such has been fun in a burn and all that. And it was bizarre that the majority of them were for the second part of my childhood. And that was kind of...
I mean, it could, I mean, obviously there's a multitude of reasons, but it could be just that way you're getting a bit older, people kind of start developing into that kind of roles or whatever. But it's, so how did you kind of, because obviously, like, you're quite prominent in Scottish politics at the moment. So, like, how did you kind of get into politics? What made you get into by accident?
Aye, and like, my life's full of weird stories that don't make sense and somehow just built me into
synchronicity.
This character. And politics, and I tell this to a lot of people that are really heavy into politics, but even in the party, I need to kind of remind them sometimes. I was down at a leaders meeting in Manchester about a fortnight, 3 weeks ago, and I told them this story. One of them mentioned that I kind of resonate with people more than others that are really into politics. And I says, just the terminology and stuff, that I don't use your terminology. I says, and what we need to remember as a party and what we need to remember as a society is the vast majority of people were me 22 months ago, and I'll come to why I ended up in political, where my politics, for the vast majority of my adult life, I only bothered about politics when two things were happening. And that would be when there was a vote, deciding who I was going to vote for, and I voted for probably every party out there apart from the SNP and the Greens at some point in my life, because I would look like 2 or 3 weeks think, oh, who's the best person? Because I'm kind of, when we're doing Westminster example, I wasn't voting for a party, I was voting for to represent me down at Westminster. So I would look into the person as much as I'd look into the party, and I'd make a decision, and then the election would happen and I'd kind of move on. And the only other time I worried about politics or concerned about politics would be when there was a budget coming. Now, I've been a drinker and a smoker, and I don't smoke now, and I take a drink now and again, but I wouldn't say I'm a drinker anyway, and I still drive a car. So when a budget would come up, I'd be interested in politics, because I'd want to know how much my fags, my whiskey, and my fuel was going up. And that was it. Then that would happen, and I'd go, oh, bugger, right, and me £100 a month or so, for whatever it would be. And that was me, but I think that's kind of normal, right? And now I'm involved in this political sphere. And what I keep saying to people in that sphere is, we're the oddballs here. We're the weirdos. Right? We talk about politics all the time. We're involved in it. We're trying to make difference. But we are far from the majority here. The majority of people are the Craig that I've just described to you. And why did I go for that to that? Right, well, James English is a boy, you know, and I'd met James a handful of times. And at the time I was protesting. Rangers used to have some bad owners, and again, it was just pure chance I ended up the face of this protest movement. Wasn't planned, it was just evolved. And I was at a charity thing the first time I met him, and he was just starting off his podcast at the time. And I thought, nice guy, mind he'd done that Glow thing.
Glow,
I was reading about that sort of time. And I'd watched a few of his shows and enjoyed them. And then he'd asked me to go on at the time, and I was like, mate, I've just finished all that protesting. It took up 3 years of my life.
I know.
It's yesterday's news. And he's like, no, come on. I was like, mate, burnt out with it all. And then I met him about a year later, and he's like, do you want to come on the show? And I'm terribly embarrassed that I said no to him 2 or 3 times. But the last time was funny, because he's like, do you want to come on and tell your story? I was like, I've just saw a trailer that you're doing Jean-Claude Van Damme next week, right? I don't like, so I'm right. I was yesterday. This is a year on for people. You know, I was relevant, and I was like, mate, I'm just at a different level now. But I enjoyed, and I was an avid watcher of James's stuff. And I contacted him. I think it was just after COVID. I said, James, I'm looking for a bit of advice. Can I get a wee off here? Met him for a coffee. And I says, what I want to do is, through my protesting at the Rangers stuff, my phone book, well, no, that one, the one the Polish have got, right, has got about 3,500 contacts. Now, before I started the protesting, that phone had maybe 300 contacts. And the vast majority of them were through this time in my life. Now, I've got Rangers, ex-Rangers players, ex-Rangers managers, ex-Rangers directors, famous Rangers fans in this phone book. And I kind of want to do what you do, but I don't want to try and be the next James English. That's an open, we'll talk to anybody with a story. I says, I just want to be the guy that does the Rangers people and utilises my phone book. Any tips? So that's how it started. And I was doing that, I think I started that around about the March or the April. And I was finding it frustrating that I'd do a podcast every day. I love getting folk stories.
I know.
But trying to get the studio that I was using at the time, the Parliament Ricky's got over at Firhill Stadium. So I would say with you, getting Sean on, right? So going to get Sean on. So Sean, when we shooting next Wednesday, all right? I send a phone, having the fucking booked out, right?
Aye.
So it was frustrating.
I know, it's no easy.
Couldn't tie them all together. It's all moving targets. But I was doing it, and it was a hobby.
Yeah.
And it was getting to the point where it was starting to get monetised, and I was actually starting to have a hobby that didn't cost me money.
Aye.
Because the money I was paying for editing, and don't need to tell you, there's the costs involved that people don't appreciate. And I was enjoying it, and it was nothing more than a hobby. And then I woke up one morning, and Michael Matheson, the SNP, done my nut in. Because Michael Matheson had used £11,000 of public money to pay for a roaming phone bill charge while he was in Morocco the Christmas before.
Blamed the Waynes or something, didn't he?
Blamed the Waynes. And it wasn't the fact that he'd done it. It was the fact that he tried to be a wido at first and deny it and all that, cover it up. And then, I'm going to tell you the truth now, I wanted to protect my Waynes, but I'm just going to throw them under a bus now. I'm sorry, mate, but either that's bollocks or the story's bollocks, right?
Because coward.
Nobody protects their Waynes by throwing them under a bus.
Aye.
I'd take a bullet for my Waynes.
Of course.
Right? You would take a terminal illness off them.
Aye.
He threw them under a bus to try and protect his career and his £70,000, well, £90,000 because he was a minister at the time. And it done my nut. Right? And I thought, how dare you? And because I'd been using the studio at the time, I mean, I've got wee cameras and lights and that now that I do my 10-minute films from, but I had nothing. I had nothing at the time. So I got my phone and I hung it on my laptop and I made a rant and it lasted 10 minutes. And I went, now this was November 2023. And I made this rant and it took me 10 minutes to record it. I'd no editing skills, nothing. Put it on my channel, had a platform with a few thousand subscribers and fired it out. And in the first 5 hours, it had more watches than I would get on a podcast in 5 hours. But the difference is the podcast lasts forever. Right? Because people might listen to me interviewing Derek Ferguson 10 years from now, right? So they're evergreen. But your political and news stuff, they've got a 48-hour shelf life. But in the first sort of 5-6 years, I was like, what is going on here? And I thought, that kind of worked. So the next day, I done another 10-minute moan about cyclists, right? And I thought, folk must just like this old guy moaning in the house, right? It's dead raw, right? It was my single take, done this thing, top and tailed it, cut the front off, cut the end off, flung it on the internet. Rubbish thumbnail, terrible description, but found an audience, right? And I thought, it's maybe just like that old guy moaning. Maybe that's what's twigged here. So the next day, I don't hate cyclists, right? But I hate cyclists that want to demand their road users until they get to a set of traffic lights and suddenly jump the pavement and become a pedestrian, right? You want to be a road user, be one, right? So that was kind of what the second video was about, and nobody watched it. Nobody watched it. The third day, I think I done one about Rishi Sunak. And a wee bit more than the cyclist watched it, but no, at the Matheson one. I thought, of course, it's Scottish people. My viewers are Scottish, but they're into football.
Of course.
So that's kind of where my viewers are now. I thought, well, maybe I'll do another one about Scottish politics. And this will be a laugh, and I can do these on a daily basis. And it just drew me in. And I just became totally engrossed with the whole thing. So that would have been November 23. So between then and that Christmas, I suddenly became this political guy, talking about politics all the time, and current affairs and news stories and stuff. And the channel just exploded. And I don't like Humza Yousaf.
No, it's doing really well, and I've listened to a few, they're interesting, do you know what I mean? And as I say, there's a lot of things that I don't agree or align with, Craig, but what you do is you give everybody a chance to talk, and even to the extent where I did watch the other night, and somebody come on and called you a racist, and you says, well, prove that then,
give me an
back
example.
it up, and they couldn't, and it's certainly something that I wouldn't call you. There's no back. I think what people are getting, you're getting mixed up there is political policy, and because racism is a bad thing to be called.
Racism is a bad thing,
of course,
right?
Of course,
and it's like But it's just a tag. It's calling somebody a racist. Unless, you are a person that's went up and you're a member of the Ku Klux Klan.
Aye.
That's evidently racist, right? I kind of understand that, right? But and this is right, we've had 27, 28 years of governments who every single one of them gone Tory, Labour, right, swapping it about. Every manifesto that they got voted in on has said, we are going to reduce immigration. So that's been their policy. They've just never done it.
Aye.
But that's what they want. I want that as well for the people in Britain and people in Scotland, right? But I'm a racist for wanting the same that these governments have been voted in for and told as lies, because year on year it's gone up, apart from COVID year, which was a bit weird. So I'm like, well, are they all racists? Now, you're a Labour Party member, right? So is Keir Starmer a racist? Because Keir Starmer tells us, and it doesn't make sense either, because he tells us he's going to smash the boats, smash the gangs, and at the same time every week we're getting new hotels that are getting signed up in 5-year contracts to house asylum seekers. Well, why do you need that if you're going to smash the boats?
This is where I kind of sit with this, and again, it's I see it as manufactured, right? And my missus always says to me, Sean, you go global, right? And you can't, you. But what I do is I'll say to people, if you think Keir Starmer is a snake's head, I don't think you're looking far enough into it. Now, my problem, probably like with the SDP policies and stuff like that, I don't think you go far enough on talking about the wealth inequality and this taxing the super wealthy and stuff. So, but I think that's a global issue. So I don't know.
And I disagree with it, by the way.
So
if they had that policy, I wouldn't have joined the party.
Aye.
And I'll tell you, I was funny because I was up talking at a protest in Peterhead last Saturday, and on the way down there was a protest in Aberdeen that I went to cover for my channel, put my high-vis on and took some footage, right? And there was a banner. I was standing next to John Watt, right? And I went, John, look at that. He went, Matt. I went, no, these people at this side are protesting because they don't want that hotel, which he done a great interview with a girl that stayed across for it. She's telling you that it's all men, and she can't go to her flat at night because they approach her and they're pests and that, right? And her pals don't even go down that area at night, right? So there's a load of locals saying, we're not happy with this agreement. This arrangement doesn't work. So the counter-protesters, now if they had banners up saying refugees welcome here, I would kind of understand why they were there. But they didn't. They were shouting Free Palestine for about an hour. And I went, there's no Palestinians in there because we don't have any Palestinian asylum seekers because they can't get out of Gaza.
It's locked in.
Right. So what are you doing? Why are you shouting about... If you're there going, no, we welcome refugees, I would be like, I understand that. That makes sense why you've got up on a Saturday morning and decided to counter protest, right?
Yep.
I mean, John, look at the banners. None of them's about asylum seekers, not at all. And there was one that said there's 14 whatever, a number of billionaires in this country, and there's...
I think it's 450.
Right, so it's like something of billionaires and something of people that are destitute. I can't remember the exact terminology. And I went, right, but John, see if we had no billionaires. Let's say you've got a couple of grand in the bank, and I say to you, Sean, I've got this wee project that'll cost us about £200 each. Do you fancy it? You'll maybe be able to consider that.
Yeah.
But if I say to you, with 2 grand in the bank, it's going to cost 10 grand, it's a definite no.
Aye.
Right. So you'd need to have thousands in the bank to invest hundreds into whatever it is I think will make society better. Right. So if we've got millionaires, we could probably get them to invest tens of thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
Or possibly reaching close to 100 million. Right. But see the big serious stuff. Let's say, for example, somebody decided that, see what's happened over at Grangemouth, it's pretty shit. And I've got this product that site could use. And by the way, there is a product that site can produce that should never have shut. We'll go into that if you want. But let's say somebody went, I could put in £300 million into that and make that site work and give that community their industry back. Well, if you don't have any billionaires, nobody can put in 300 million. Because a millionaire can't invest that. You need to be a billionaire, right? Now, so if you have no billionaires, see any plan that you've got that needs investment of hundreds of millions of pounds, forget it. It can't happen.
I think, see, I get where you're coming from. My problem with it is like, so they don't pay tax. There's loopholes. They don't pay tax. They dodge it.
But that's you can't just say we don't have billionaires because the tax system isn't correct.
No. Right, so a genuine question, would you be happy to have £200 billion in your bank?
I probably wouldn't keep it there long. If I created 200 billion, right, I wouldn't have it for long.
Right,
Because
so
I've been doing stuff with
So
it.
this is where it's holding the whole. It's the people
But do they
that hold
hold it?
Of course
Right.
they do.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Think of a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me one.
Elon Musk.
Right. So do you think he's got billions of dollars sitting in a bank account somewhere?
Aye.
No. They have paper wealth. It's paper wealth they've got. He's got shares in a company.
Assets,
Right?
Correct. But he's definitely got
See the
billions
boy,
in a
Mr.
bank.
Beast?
Aye.
Do you know he's getting he doesn't pay himself? He's a pauper on paper.
Amazon did, I know, but they're called predatory companies.
Right. So they're
don't
creating things, commodities that they own that are worth millions and billions of pounds. But they don't have like a room in their house, well, unless you're Pablo Escobar, where it's this size and it's full of notes, or a bank that's got 99% of these people, the vast majority of them, it's paper wealth. And by the way, I'll come on to that if you want when we talk about immigration.
I get where you're coming from, but I think no taxing them. So like obviously you know where I stand. Like I'm always for the working class. That's kind of where my politics always will be. And to allow privatisation, what you're watching, I've not seen a public kind of sector that's been privatised that's done better. I've not seen. I'm yet to see it. So like,
I think I'd agree with you with things like see things that we need, things that you cannot live without.
NHS, water,
See, like, water,
like all these
utilities,
essentials,
right? Like power.
Yeah,
I kind of get that, right? Yeah. There's a thing that I've also got a bit of a problem with, where, and it's just down to value for money. Like, see, when I was a kid, you would have feathers that you knew that the dad was an electrician for the council, a painter for the council. They don't exist anymore. And you go, well, are we getting better value now by giving a private company a big lucrative contract? And then the whole thing gets a bit weird, because every time, and I've seen it, I was a sales director for a large industrial cleaning company in London for a while, and the things that I saw there changed my life, changed my outlook on things. I thought we were better than other countries. That brown envelopes and bribes didn't exist.
Nah,
it's everywhere, right? So the minute you've got a local government or a Westminster or Holyrood putting a contract, then you've always got to factor in there's probably a bit of a brown bag somewhere.
Aye, who's making money off it?
Yeah.
Aye.
So not only have you got what's value for money, but who's actually making coin out of this? And some of the biggest socialists in the world will be involved in stuff like that.
Of course.
And that's where you go, well, you're not a socialist.
Yeah.
Because that's not your principles. And that's how the whole thing's broke.
See, like myself, like, so say I had £5 million in the bank, £10 million, I'd be happy with that, right? I would be hopefully able to help we communities, and I'd be able to kind of leave a legacy for my family and whatever. I really can't get on board when there's like, so there's in Scotland now there's 23% of kids living in poverty. Yeah. Which is a phenomenal amount of kids.
Scary.
Which those kids are probably going to go on to move on into like probably no working. Yeah. Maybe like, as people would say, draining the public purse. Yeah. But what you also have is billionaires that are utilising the same workforce who don't pay taxes, who dodge taxes, who use offshore accounts. Yeah. So what we need to do in my eyes is go, look, I agree with people being successful. So you're successful and you're skillful and you're an entrepreneur. You should be able to have a luxurious life. Mm-hmm. Surely God, as society, as a humanity, you could cap it.
Aye, you could. But I kind of think you would potentially lose out a lot of people. Look at some of the Tom Farmers and all that.
Would you want them? Yeah. I genuinely, so in Scotland there's 10 billionaires, right? Yeah. There's in the UK there's 450. Yeah. Right.
So see the 10 billionaires in Scotland.
Yeah.
How many of them provide things for others in society?
Probably they do a lot, but I think if we had a good social welfare system that, just say we taxed them 2% of their wealth, right? And that's I would go higher than that. By the way, I would take a lot more off them because what they do is they utilise the working class people. It's them. They give them crappy wages. They work them. They're the ones that work the workforce, and they're making a lot of money off them.
100%. But the way the world works in reality is, see the person that's taking the risk,
Yeah.
they get the reward. That's the reality of life.
Aye. Mm-hmm.
So if you want to open a factory and it's going to cost you 200 million, right, and you're the one that ponies up that 200 million, the risk lies with you, right? The risk doesn't lie with the person that's making the pens or whatever it is the factory's doing or the thing. So you've got to, if there is no reward, then why would you take the risk? And if you don't take that risk, see that factory, it doesn't open.
If you get £200 million to take a risk with £200 million, then how much have you got?
Probably that's where you need to be a billionaire.
Right.
But these people were wanting banners put up and things saying we shouldn't have billionaires. But we need the billionaire or you don't have that £200 million factory.
So say just even, let's say we capped it at £500 million you were allowed, right?
Yeah.
And then the rest went into, say there was a global purse,
Right.
and you were
See
happy
if you're a nice
with,
person.
aye.
Right. See if you're a nice person and you accumulate more than 500 million, if that's the right, and you don't have that cap, and you accumulate a billion, you might give half it away. See if you put a cap on it, you wouldn't achieve that. There's no point. So see the good that people, these billionaires are doing. They're not bad people. There will be bad ones. There'll be very good ones,
Of course.
right? So if you put a cap on it and you say you can't earn more than 1 billion, well, then they stop at 1 billion. So anything over that, you're not getting the benefit that they could put it back in. And whether that is through that word that I can't say, philanthropy.
Philanthropy,
Did I do all right there, Sean?
You done all right.
Right, right. So they can't do that because they're not allowed over this cap. And they can't go, do you know what? I've got a factory in Stirling that's doing all right. I'll go open another one in Kilwinning because I've not got the money because I've got this cap that somebody's decided we have to put into society. So I get it. And I think the theory that everybody that's got accumulated lots of money are bad people, I think's wrong. And
I think if you look, like to me, who would you say is a good person that's worth that kind of money?
I don't think Elon Musk's a bad guy. I think he's a bit weird, and I think some of the stuff he does is a bit potty. But let's say he's not a billionaire, right? And Twitter is not owned by Elon Musk, and it's choked, and free speech doesn't exist. Well, if he's not allowed to be a billionaire, then Twitter's still that thing. Now he bought that thing. Now whether you like it or you don't like it, you've got to appreciate that it's now more free speech than it was before he opened it. He got it, right? So that's surely a benefit to mankind.
I think when you look at Elon Musk, if you take him for example, you need to look at where his wealth comes from. So he's got a lot of Saudi ties. He's got a lot of kind of his dad was obviously kind of probably intelligence based and techno, like really in the kind of technocracy kind of world. But so take Elon Musk, even if he is the person who he claims to be and he's kind of trying to break the system, Elon Musk very critically will tell you this system's failing. And if you look at nearly everything, the Roman Empire, you look at all the different, it's wealth inequality that starts what we're seeing now. It's people getting fed up with life, people getting fed up with what's happening, and it's because 4,500 people own $14.3 trillion.
What countries have had a policy where nobody was billionaires?
Probably Cuba. Probably, I don't know, maybe Venezuela tried it. A few South American countries maybe tried it.
Did it work?
Was it allowed to work?
This is a great argument because you can't lose the argument when you say that.
Exactly. So right. you need to take into account that how amazing these services are, your CIAs and all that, at dismantling things. But again, you've probably got me there because there probably isn't a country that's got billionaires. But what I'm saying is, if you look at any, so take the Gini, the new right, the GINI, whatever you want to call it. I think we're sitting at like 0.36 or something like that, right? Which is probably like all right, but some countries are like 0.8 and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, if you take Scotland for example, we're not probably affected by billionaires the way London is, and the way
proportionally we probably are. What was the figures you
Well,
said?
the UK. So we've got like 450 billionaires in the UK.
Right, and how many of them's up here?
10, I think.
Aye, that's disproportionate then. But that'll probably be because...
It's because of London.
See if you took London out the equation and you looked at the rest of England as a proportion, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, it would probably average out, but you've got a big, massive chunk of that's obviously going to be in London. But if you took that out, it'd probably be the same.
You know, it's hard because see, like I would always say I'm a moderate socialist, which is probably what social democracy is. Do you know what I mean? And I think when you look at the working class areas, I always kind of see like the poverty, and poverty's stricken around Scotland. It's really bad. Energy prices are up, food prices are up. This is your billionaires that are choking us. It's them that own the companies. They own the companies. So energy companies, if you owned a big energy company that was making what the turn there, would you be happy with having the people in poverty?
Yeah.
Whilst making those kind of profits?
This is why one of the big reasons I hate the SNP, because they're very, very bad at governing a country. And let me talk to you about
I agree with that.
Really bonkers about them. They keep opening offshore wind farms, right? Now, Nicola Sturgeon sold, I think it was about £800 million worth of leases for the last lot, right? And this was fantastic. We sold them in an auction. We sold them in an auction that had a ceiling on each square metre that you could bid on. That's not an auction. That's just ridiculous, right? 100% of the companies that bought the leases with a maximum price are foreign. Two of the companies are the national energy companies of Norway and Spain. And I'm meant to celebrate that. One, they were pawned because the price was just ridiculous, right? And two, that means every time you pay £200 to your bill, very, very few pence of that stays here.
Yeah.
Because these are all foreign countries. And two of them are Norway and Spain. So you're actually pay a bill that's came for that windmill out there that's turned off for more than half the year, but hey, they get paid anyway, because I'll come back to why it's just a bonkers deal. So what we're doing is, we're firing in our pocket to Johnny Foreigner. And two of them are Johnny Foreigner's national energy companies. And what happens with these wind turbines? The price of energy is set internationally, right? But when you've got green energy, you can charge a surcharge. So the deals are, if we buy your energy and we can actually take it into your national grid, which doesn't work either, we'll pay you a premium for it. And see, when we can't take it off you, we pay you to turn it off. So your bill is higher because A, the money's gone out the country, B, we're paying more for it just because they can, right? And C, even when the windmills know to taking wind to put it into the grid, we need to pay them anyway. So you're in effect, the majority of your energy, you're paying for it twice. Because if it doesn't come for the wind turbine, it comes from some other source, hydro or whatever else it came from, you've got to pay for that, but you've got to pay for that thing being idle. And then when you look into audit, no, even that's just offshore.
No, I agree.
The onshore's the same.
If you take that, so see if you take that and you look at it and you say, right, so energy's killing, isn't it? It's strangling 100%. The working class, right?
That's got a big knock-on effect to industry, because your power has got such a big influence on the cost of any industry, whether you're making T-shirts or building Boeing aircraft, right? Energy is a massive component into your cost. So when we're paying stupid money for it, it throttles industry. And it's tough enough competing with foreign countries, right, who have got cheaper labour than us and cheaper raw materials. But when you're factoring in another thing that's fucking dearer to start with, the whole thing's broke.
No, I get that. I think that's where you could maybe say to your 450 billionaires, listen, guys, you just pluck up 2% of that.
Many of them are foreign, but these billionaires?
Probably a good few.
Right, so why would they stay?
Well, I swear I wouldn't want their money. Do you know how much?
You can't see, like, mate.
Craig, I think.
But you can't. If you don't have people with money, we have nothing, no way of getting investment in anything.
Oh, I think you will always get
somebody that steps in. We've not got a magic tree.
You'll always get somebody that steps in.
But how can you? If you've got no billionaires here, right? And you need a project, I've already said this, I'll give an example. Grangemouth. Somebody, and I'll come on to, I keep saying I'll come on to that. There's a great product that Grangemouth can make, and they're refusing to make it, that would regenerate that whole area. And if it costs 350 million to get that done, if we don't have any billionaires, then who's got it? It's impossible if somebody can pony up, because there's nobody with that amount of money that can throw it.
If they're not paying into if they're not paying into the tax system, what's the point of having them here?
Correct, but that's not their fault. That's the tax system's fault. So we need to change the tax system. But if you go at that, you know what? I'm going to get you smashed, and I'm going to take a quarter of your wealth, and I'm a foreigner, right?
Aye.
And I go, okay then. So where's the most advantageous place for me to be? If it's not here anymore.
They but off like the offshores, they already do it.
Yeah.
I would just say, do you know what, your business, see kind of with Trump, and I don't agree with Trump, but kind of with Trump's doing, see if you don't put your money into your business here, you're off.
Correct. We're going to get you a tariff.
I don't want you here. So see your billions of pounds, the amount of money we give them on interest, right? The amount of money they get off interest.
I tell you, it would make the economy better. See if you said to all these billionaires, we will charge you no tax. And your face is going to drop now, right? But it's got a caveat. If you've got $1 billion and you invest a quarter of that into our industry, we'll give you all tax free. You imagine the input that would have on our society. So the answer's not always just, see the rich guys, let's demand them to give us more money. Let's be cute and clever about it, because that's basically what Trump said. Trump said, see if you are here and you're going to build a car plant here, or you're going to build a whatever here, you're welcome here.
But it's to the expense of greater humanity.
What do you mean?
So who would filter fit? So we invite all the billionaires here, and then other countries.
No, you don't need to invite any. We've got 450. That's plenty.
Right. So we say to them, like, we start kind of saying, we're not going to tax you guys, but we're going to.
No, it's a hypothetical.
No,
right?
no, I get it. No, I get
everybody,
it. I understand the
argument.
Understand the argument.
Yeah. As long as you invest here.
But if you're getting that, so it's going to that intergenerational wealth is just going to keep getting higher and higher and higher, and it's going to just keep going down to family, right? And it's the same families.
There's no rule in any country in the world that says you can't be the next billionaire.
There isn't, but to accrue £1 billion is very hard.
What's that? Accrue £100 hard?
This is somebody done this to me, right? So this is to kind of show people the difference between $1 million and $1 billion, right? How many seconds do you think?
I know, it's mad. It's 1,000, mate.
How many seconds do you think are in $1 million? How many days?
I don't know, mate. I'm not that clever.
13 days, right?
Right.
How many do you think are in $1 billion?
That's years, light years.
31 years.
Aye, it's madness.
So it shows the difference, right? Yeah. Now, if you're a billionaire, to me, you should have some sort of responsibility to society, because your workforce is working class.
Who says they don't? Who paints these guys out? Now, I don't know many of them, right? I've probably met 2 in my life, right? And they were all right. I'd go for a drink with them.
Oh,
right?
That's.
But why do they always get painted as the devil?
I don't think they're the devil. I think they're unaccountable. They're unaccountable to what they've got, the wealth they've got. If you want to have that kind of wealth,
right? But but again, see out these 400 guys that I don't know, right? I don't know 490 of them.
I don't know. I probably don't even know any of the ones that are here. But
so who says that they're not doing good things right now?
I'm pretty sure some of them will be.
Correct.
But when you've got that kind of wealth and there's the type of poverty we're talking about,
100%,
you need to take responsibility for it.
Correct. I mean, listen, but we all need to take responsibility.
We do.
We can't go, do you know what? There's a wee lassie I know, she's a single parent, she's a bit shit in her luck, so it's got to be a billionaire to blame.
I think the whole thing is that the inequality of wealth is went far too far. It's actually laughable, like how much you couldn't spend what these guys have got. So £14.3 trillion is insane.
What's that?
So that's 4,500.
If you right, aye,
right, I've got 14.2 trillion pound, right?
Aye.
Now, see when you've got that's they can pull whatever strings they want in any economy, So you've got, and then you end up with these NGOs, the World Bank, and these people that Davos. I watched a video about Davos. Davos is one of the most dangerous places, I think, like your Bilderberg and all that kind of stuff. So these people are meeting unelected. What are they talking about? Because it's all secret.
Yeah.
Now, to me, if you've got that kind of, the working class are getting strangled. It's horrible to watch. Addiction rates are going up. Crime rates going up. You've got your billionaires moving, going, London's a horrible place. It's a cesspit. I'm moving to Dubai. the same people that you're like, what? Like the same people that actually are talking about the migrants causing the problem, they're going to a Muslim country
Yeah.
and they're going to live by their rules.
Yeah, but that's to suggest that the problem is purely religious.
Mm,
An argument, isn't it? That my argument is
no. I don't think you're arguing. You don't put it that way.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of people think that.
Yeah.
A lot of people would say Muslims are bad.
Look, there are bad Muslims,
Of course.
right? And I think the biggest problem we've got is not somebody's religion or the colour of their skin.
Yep.
It's the society that they came from. Because regardless of where you came from, the colour of your skin or the book you want to believe is the most factual of
Yep.
all the versions of Bibles, right?
Mhm.
It's not that. It's what is acceptable in the society that you've been raised.
Yep.
And if you think, if you have to come to this country and you don't understand that you cannot have sex with 10-year-olds,
Yep.
that's pretty weird, right? But that's because you've been brought
It's
out of a
extremism.
situation
Aye.
where that is acceptable,
Yep.
right? That's where the problems lie. Now, if those people tend to then follow a certain religion and believe in a particular religious leader,
Yep.
then that's just consequence. It's
Mhm.
like people say, you don't like Hamza Yusuf, you're a racist. No, I don't like Hamza Yusuf because he's a hopeless politician,
Same.
right? He's terrible at the
Yeah,
job.
it's rubbish.
So when I say you're bad,
Mhm.
it's not because of what book he believes in the Quran.
No.
It's got nothing to do with that. And it's just nonsense. So it's not, but the people are coming here in droves, unfettered, unfiltered, whatever the word is causing issues in their community. And people say, oh, well, we've got bad men here. 100% agree with you. We've got folk in this country that are really horrible to kids. Now, I'm not going to go down this whole route, but I played with Celtic Boys Club for 2 years. You don't need to tell me about people that are the same colour skin as me and Christians, apparently, that are bad to kids.
Yeah.
I've seen it. And so that's a skill shortage we've already got. We don't have a skill shortage of bad people,
no.
right? So why bring in more? Right?
No, I think I'm certainly no, like I think I'm all for asylum, bringing in people who genuinely need help.
100%. And if you can't, it's quite harsh to say we shouldn't have any asylum.
I think
we've got too much. And what
it's
it does mean that it's not even asylum, mate.
To me, it's manufactured to do what's happening. No, I don't know if you read Machiavelli. Like I read The Prince quite a lot. I've read it 2 or 3 times back to front.
That's a bit better book than the one I gave you earlier.
no. Listen to that. But to me, it's a playbook for the globalists, right?
Yeah.
Now, what I think we're watching now is a manufactured. Now, I liked when you done your trail of the migrant route. But what struck me and gave me was the amount of Swiss plates and stuff you've seen.
Imagine that.
So this is where you go, why are they there? Right? So you've got to then look at the UN and stuff like that, and why are they sending why is there a route to the UK? Now to me, every single Western country getting hit at the same time with a migrate
Stinks.
There's something there.
But how many countries have got genuine need for people to flee and seek asylum? Because I spoke to a boy on that trip, and he was from Cameroon.
I think it was, aye.
And I'm like, I wish he'd went in camera.
Aye.
I understood and I totally respect he didn't. But I'm like, what do you need to leave Cameroon for? He went, there's an election coming. All right. And the guy that's in Cameroon, the president, I think, is the oldest president in the world, and he says he's a nutcase. I'm like, okay. So he's not a true aside. He's just somebody who wants better for his life, and there's no problem with that either. That's allowed.
Yep.
There's loads of people we all know that's immigrated. They think going elsewhere is a better thing. But there's processes and systems in place that accommodate. If you want to go to Australia, you can go. You just need to fill out the paperwork. And
I'm a
tick the
lifer,
boxes.
right? I'm a lifer. I accept that I'm not allowed to go to America. I accept that I'm not allowed to go to Australia. I accept the process.
Yeah.
I accept I'll never be able to go there because
You might disagree with
because
it,
of my
but you
conviction,
accept it.
of course.
Yeah.
So I get it. Do you know what I mean? I get when you're not allowed to go somewhere that you want to go, you'd like to go. So there does need to be processes. I know that, and there isn't the now. But what you'll see is Keir Starmer, to me, is this jumping about. Now, if you think Keir Starmer's an idiot, I think you're batting up around 3 as well. He's a very clever man that's executing a plan to me to erode the UK, to erode the kind of working class. So when you go to elite protests and stuff, it's mainly people from that want change, right, on either side, whatever side it is, right, they'll be wanting change. And obviously Scotland, unfortunately, sometimes it's run with football, which is mental and all
Yeah.
right, but that people need to look into policy and stuff and what they
Yeah.
really want. But I think when you look at the way this is happening, we could stop this in a minute, Craig. Right, we've got one of the best armies in the world. You could stop the boats coming over. Now, France certainly don't look as if they certainly look as if they're sending people over.
What's there? They're escorting them into the middle of the channel where we're picking them up.
So my question would be why?
Well, it's dead simple. People will go to the country when they're not asylum seekers. And that's my biggest problem with this. I've got personal experience with 2 asylum seekers. One of them was an Afghan family that coached his kid for a while, right? And that guy was an interpreter helping when we were out there helping the people in Afghan when the Taliban were pretty nasty. So when we've come out of that situation, if we left him there, it would probably end nastily for him. That man was granted asylum in our country. I kind of think that's fair. When you can do it, when the thing fits. But the one that gets me the most is a YouTuber down Manchester. The boys from, I keep saying it's not Ivory Coast, further south. I'll come back to where he's from. South part of Africa. Terrible, I can't remember. Anyway, civil war happened. His family flee, had to. And he told me the story. He wasn't born. And he had a couple of 3 siblings. And the youngest one, so the mum and the dad, they were literally gunfire at the end of the street. And they ran, grabbed what they could and went. The mum and the dad panicked. They got about quarter mile, half a mile up the road and they stopped to get breath. And they realised they'd left the baby in the crib. And his mother and father went, we need to try and get back, but the gunfire might be in our garden now. And the mother and the father cuddled and thought they'd never see each other again, but couldn't live with each other if one of them had went. And the mother decided she would go because the father could provide for the kids if one of them was to die. Right, scary, horrible things. So she went back to the house and did get the kid brought, right? They ended up in, I think it was Rwanda, bizarrely enough, in a asylum camp. And 3 years later, Baraka was born. Baraka spent the first 14 years of his life in that camp, 2.5 miles across. 14 years. And woke up one morning and they got told, "You're going out of here tomorrow." Didn't know where they were going. Got on a plane and ended up in the United Kingdom. That kid is now 22, 23, I'd imagine, and lives in Manchester. And is a great kid. But that kid's first 14 years of his life and 17 years of his parents' and siblings' life was spent in a, I said concentration camp the other night, and I think it was probably one of the Freudian slips. Sound posh using that terminology. And the reason that they had 17 years in it was because we've got people jumping the queue. They're not true asylum seekers. They're not. They are using it for, now if they want to better their life, again, nobody should knock that. I quite like the notion of people wanting to better themselves. And if they feel Britain is where they can come, we have got a great thing that allows immigrants here. You're allowed to do it. You just need to apply. And you either, if you want to go to, or if I wanted to go to Australia, there's a process. So they're all jumping the queue. So the current thing that we've got means that kid spent 14 years of his life in a camp, 2.5 mile radius across. That can't be right. The system can't be, we don't help anybody, right? I think anybody that says that's a bit weird, right? I understand a lot of people say that, but I kind of care for people. So if when I was a kid, you're a wee bit younger than me, I think.
40.
So Ethiopia was the thing when I was a kid, and we all with Band-Aid and Live Aid and all that, right? And that was a terrible situation. And if we can help these people, we can help them, right? And when people are having to flee, persecution and stuff, I kind of don't mind I think it's a good thing to be able to have a process in place that you can take some. But it can't be capitalist.
No.
And it can't be, well, you've not got a passport. And how come 80 to 90% of these people that have to flee these countries are male fighting age men? That doesn't make sense to me. I've seen it from my own eyes. I've been to Cali. I've done I've been in forests, right? Seen where these people live. I've been to Lesbos and seen where they come in. Because when I went to Cali, I thought, right, well, this is the end of the problem. And France they're not bothered about them leaving France. Let's be perfectly honest with you, right? And So how did they get in here in the first place? And that's when I went to Lesbos and done investigations there in Carlos Power, and it was just bonkers, right? It was mad. And the whole thing is orchestrated in a lot of respects. But what I found out, and I didn't go to Lesbos, by the way, to investigate the UN and the EU with this new army that they've got that nobody knows about. I went there thinking I would get footage of guys coming off a boat. That's kind of what I thought, and I'd maybe interview them and locals. When I got there was so much really weird, strange things happening to me, and things that I saw and experienced. I thought, oh, this is dark. What's behind it? And while I was there, I started investigating Frontex, which is this European army that nobody calls an army, and what really goes on with the UNHCR, which is the United Nations. They look after every single refugee, asylum seekers, apart from the ones in Palestine, because they get their own groovy gang club called UNRWA, right? That's a bonkers organisation you could do a full podcast on, right? Now, the UN's, they're just like any other NGO or group or department of any of these public things. They want their budget up all the time. And they get the biggest budget out of all the UN's subcategories, departments, is for asylum seekers. And it's currently 60.2425 billion a year and rising. And they're currently building 5 new centres. Now, I've been at the old one. It's all right, but you're told that it's overcrowded and it's terrible and it's like a prison. Well, I spoke to a man from Cameroon, and he was telling me how wonderful it was, and he's like, no, it's not overcrowded. It's about 70-80% capacity, and they're great to us, and it's a prison. I'm going to the capital of this island, and I was getting a bus if you hadn't given me a lift, right? No, it's all bollocks. To justify the 70 to 80 million one that they're building in the centre of the place, that when I try to go to, all weird shit started happening to my car. And I couldn't find it.
No, I get
right? It's a game. So see that UNHCR that look after refugees, they want their budget more next year, because they all do, right? They're building these 5 centres, 4 in Greek islands and 1 in the mainland. They can't be empty. They need to justify their existence. Now, it might be, and I can't discount this, that it's some big master plan of some overpowering group of reptiles or something, right?
I mean, it's not, I wouldn't go...
But let's say it's not. Let's say it's not that, right? There's so many people now making massive coin out of this that it ain't stopping anytime soon.
So see the people that's making coin off it, who is it?
Well, you take, it's the chief executives, it's the people that run the places, it's even the people that, you know,
see, like Bill Gates and people like I know, like there is horrible billionaires, right?
They might be, mate. They might be, but I don't.
I mean, I think when you look at, so just take the notion, right, that Machiavelli, right, like I'll take it the way he kind of talks about it and says like how you need to, how to divide and conquer, right? You need to divide and conquer the working class, because 99% of us own, like, I think 1% of the world population own 99% of the wealth round about. So when you've got that kind of inequality, what you'll find is these groups like the Bilderberg and all that, and people might go to say, oh, conspiracy theorists and that, they're there. They're real groups. The Davos group and that are real. You can go and look them up. You can go and see what they're all about. You can go and see who's involved in it. What I'm seeing is that I feel as if this is manufactured. They're going to let everybody in so that we all fight with each other, right? And that's happening. We're all divided, right? The working class, you couldn't unite the working class for love and money these days, right? We're so divided. Now, where I think we need to stop is going, like, we're buying into it, right? We're buying into it. If you're right and I'm wrong, then it'll play out the way it's going to play out. If I'm right, what they're going to do, right, is they're going to bring out digital IDs, digital currency.
It's already there.
So,
see, that's
the citizenship card, right? And by the way, see if you look at these phones, right? These phones have, you've already got all your information.
100%.
You've got your face already. Now, see if you look at China. Try and go to Shanghai or something, and you go with a camera and drones and stuff. You'll get shut down very quickly. And the way they operate is they've got credit systems, and see the way their surveillance systems would say Craig Houston, like, so they know everybody in it.
Yeah. See, this is the thing, right? People go, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist because he's saying this. Because saying that we've got digital ID, or it's already here.
Of course.
You're stating a fact. I done a very interesting podcast. See, when it was the 20th anniversary of the London bombings, I managed to get a woman on as a guest, right? Fantastic guest. And she actually witnessed 2 bombings that day. Some people were unfortunate to witness one. She was on a train when the undergrounds went. She then eventually got out of that, and she was going to a meeting in Russell Square or Sloane Square. And as she was coming around the corner to go to her office block, the bus blew up.
Fuck's sake.
Right? Now, bizarrely enough, she was into intelligence at the time. And although it was a long time before the the Olympic Games 2012, it was years before it, they were actually having a meeting that day. Now, see, at the same time as a G7 summit up in Scotland, and they were all going nuts up here, right? And they were flying some of the British people who were at that down to that office to have a meeting to start high security stuff about the Olympic Games that were in 5 years' time. And at one point, they actually thought that they were the target, right?
Aye.
It was just coincidence. But anyway, I was talking to her and I was like, so what sort of stuff were you sorting out for the Olympic Games? She says, well, the biggest threat we figured out wasn't the athletes, because we knew who they were, but it's who's coming with them. We can't have them all unfiltered. She went, and the thing was that they were all staying at the Olympic Village. So we knew all the family members are coming in here. And then once they're there, we can then tell them if they've got any issues. And then we know the venues that they're going to. So that was where we thought, well, that's where we can contain any threat. We can find out about any threat. And there was a system put up around that anybody coming into the athletes' village, within seconds, the camera would identify who they are, bank accounts, passports, driving license, criminal records, that quick. That was 2012, and it was planned 7 years before it. So I then, did they take them away? What do you mean? I went, well, all this technology, did they take it away? I'm like, no. So it's still there. So we've got, in facial recognition, you see them any protests and stuff, there's vans that tell you before. So it's kind of, when folk go, oh, you're a I don't get involved in that stuff. I deliberately, I don't want to be.
No, of course, and I understand at a policy level, like, you're a politician. But
they're not right up to now, Sean.
No, but you're a politician, so you can't. Listen, you can't. Whether there's this is a sad fact, right? And I'm not meaning this. It's not aimed at you at all. It's just aimed at politicians in general. See if a politician does think this is manufactured and it's coming for like big NGOs and stuff, they can't come out and say it because they get ridiculed. I seen a guy doing it no long ago, and David Cameron was attendee at a Bilderberg group.
Where do I fit in then? I've been coming on and making videos telling you the EU and the United Nations and
by the way, I think you should keep doing it. I think you're.
I've made a conscious decision, right? I went. John Watt done me up like a kipper unintentionally. He was having a fundraiser for the vaccine injured, and he asked me along to help. And I went. It was a phenomenal night. There was some really good speakers, really knowledgeable people. And he's like, you fancy doing the auction at half time? And he got me to auction a signed Rangers tap. And it was like the chapel had just come out and come into this room, right? But there was a pal of his that I was talking to that night, and who would be termed as a conspiracy theorist. And I don't think a lad would have any problem anybody describing him as that. And he told Johnny, see, after speaking to him, he went, he in the next year is going to turn into a guy that will want to expose all this stuff. And he's going to turn into, like, your version of that maniac, his name Alex something, right?
Alex Jones.
Mad, right?
Alex Jones. I used to love Alex Jones, right? I don't know where he's going now, like, with things.
He's found a niche. Aye. And if he's not got another story, I've just got to talk about something.
I know.
Right? And that's kind of where I'm at, right?
Aye.
But, so I remember John telling me this, like, the day or two after the event, and I went, aye, I think so, aye. I said, I can't be that person. I said, I'll tell you why. The mad thing is, see if you know something absolutely mind-blowing, right, and you try and tell the public, don't. No, a lot of them will just ignore it too much. And try and get that message out, on social media and stuff, nobody will get to see it.
I know.
So the key is to package something up there is a bit out there, but in terms that people can actually expect. Now, if I sit down and I tell you on a podcast after going to Greece that what the EU's doing and what the UN's doing with this whole thing called immigration, and you're clever enough to go, ticks the box, doesn't it? It's that bigger picture thing. Then you'll see that. But if you don't see that, you can't, because I've showed you things for EU's own websites, and it's about trying to take folk along a journey without being David Icke.
Yep.
And that's kind of...
I think, because I think when you go down the rabbit holes, Craig, you can there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of disinformation, and you've got to really watch, like, where you go, like, and who you listen to, because I think there's a lot of paid operatives now. I think there's a lot of people getting paid money to put out information that have got huge followings. I mean, somebody like Ben Shapiro, take for example, 3 million, 4 million, a lot of people on Twitter. And you could go into X and you could justify it, right? There's absolutely it.
Well,
right?
This is what I like about the internet, right? It doesn't matter what you believe. Let's say it was a coin toss situation where there's only 2 choices. And I'll give you a cracker, right? I love this. See the whole, is the Earth round? Or is it flat? Or is it a globe, sorry, or is it flat? Right? You can, and I've done this, by the way, because I'm nuts. I'm not right.
No, I've done things myself.
You can go down a rabbit hole and whatever side of that argument you're on, you'll find stuff to justify you're right. That's it. Ben, actually, I love documentaries, right? And it was about 3 years ago. It might have been COVID, actually, during lockdown, where we all had far too much time on our hands. And I went down the globe flat, right? And I loved it, right? And I actually don't care. See if it's flat or a globe, it doesn't change my life, right? But what I do know is there was times in the world where we all said the truth was it's flat, and then somebody said it was a globe, and at some point the whole needle moved. And that proves a theory that I've got. The truth is not actually what's true. The truth is what the majority of people want to accept. Right? True. Right? True. Because at one point in that, we were all wrong. Yeah, now whether we were all wrong when we thought it was flat, or we were all wrong when we thought it was a globe, it doesn't really matter. The point is, so it doesn't matter. So that's what the truth is, right? And I think now that it doesn't matter. I put this to a challenge. I said to somebody, open a debate one night, right, about the world's flat or the world's a globe. Coin toss which side I have to go on, and get somebody that's genuinely on the other side, and I'll have a right good debate with them. That's how bonkers information is.
See when you learn politics and you go into Cambridge, you go into Oxford and that, they'll tell you, see if like you're Labour, they'll usually go up there and like think it's a Tory. Like so they prepare you for that. But what I think is what you're saying, and I think see members of Parliament, I don't think they're bad people. I don't think that they're meaningful. I think there's a system set up that looks good on paper and looks good on hanging. But I do think we're walking into, I think the working class, I think AI and stuff, we need to be very careful with. I'm only saying it just because I think it could take a lot of jobs for the working class is already, to me, the people who are strangled the most. And I understand.
Nobody cares for them. Even see the people that should care for them most. Maybe not most, but they certainly should be caring for them. Should be our trade unions.
Definitely,
absolute rank rotten at it.
Definitely.
And the thing that bothers me, and I'm standing in Piccadilly Gardens in Manchester, been asked to speak at a protest that was about people with concerns of the safety of our kids. And behind me when I'm starting to talk is a counter protest. And I didn't notice it in Glasgow when I faced the same. 90% of the banners were for trade unions, right? And we say on them, immigration, welcome here, migrants, right? Now, forgive me, I'm going to try and be plain language as possible. A union, its primary purpose for being in position should be to look after the working conditions and protect the working conditions of workers in Great Britain, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Work, skill, labour is a commodity, like any other commodity. If there was too much gold in the world, the value would go down. When there's not enough of it in the world, the value goes up. It's the exact same with labour. So if you've got more labour come in, the chances are that all these billionaires that you hate will start paying people less, right? That's how commodities work. And when there's no enough, then the price goes up. So why would a trade union want to have open borders and bring loads and loads of people here?
No, it's bizarre, but I think I think I think like when you're looking at the trade union, there's the stuff that's set up for the working class in every field, whether it be addiction, poverty, crime, every single thing is throttled. There's nothing there working, nothing. Poverty is extreme now, and when I seen that, like when you talk about extreme poverty, you maybe talk about like I don't know what's happening in Palestine, what like maybe some African countries and that, like that's extreme poverty, right? But we're a wealthy country. We shouldn't have poverty.
Yeah.
We're at a stage where
The problem I've got, Sean, and I kind of went full circle on this, right? When you bear in mind where my starting point in life was, I saw the devastation of a car plant that employed the vast majority of people in an area. That's why I've got a real problem in places like Grangemouth get flung,
aye.
right? Because I've seen the impact. I was there, right? And the devastation it causes. But at that point, what I was told, because you're surrounded by it, is it was Maggie Thatcher's fault. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Maggie Thatcher was a wonderful woman. I'm not going to sit here and tell you she was a terrible woman, right? She was a Prime Minister at the time. She didn't shut the plant, right? But at the time, being an impressionable young guy, so you heard, that's what your surroundings were. So all you heard was, she's a bad person. I'm quite sure she's done some bad things. I'm quite sure she's done some good things. She's a human being. But I accepted that for a long time. But then as I got older, and I realised, and I started looking into it, because obviously it's where I was brought up, it's a point of interest to me. That car plant, when it finally shut, it went through loads of different owners, was Chrysler, right? It was the most unproductive car plant in the world, out of the hundreds that they had, right? And we used to get called out and strike. There was a case that I found where two guys get found drunk in the toilet, and they get sacked. So we had a strike to make the most unproductive factory that Chrysler have got in the world, that's in fear of getting closed, even more unproductive. So we do have, and I don't know the number, it might be 1%, it might be 10%, but as a number of people in our society, and I'm going back to the late 70s, early 80s here, who it's take all the time. And that can't work like that. Now, we have to find the balance between looking after people who genuinely need help and getting folk up off their arse who want to take but no put anything in. And there's a stat that I've heard that it's between 1 in 4 and 1 in 5 kids that are teenagers right now will never, ever contribute to the public purse of this country. And I'm not talking about United Kingdom, I'm talking about Scotland.
No, I get what you're talking about, right? But being brought up around about people who I know people that will never work
Through choice.
right? Through choice and through nobody would employ them because they're so chaotic that they would never know. The reason they're there is because they live in extreme poverty in a city that's decimated with drugs. So that person has now lived to his 35-year-old and he's took drugs his whole life. He's addicted to methadone. He's got absolutely no help because we're slashing the budgets here, we're slashing the budgets there, we're privatising this, we're privatising that. This is only my take on it. Where does he fit in then?
Depends. If he wants help, then I think people that need help.
But he's never. I can assure you, this person's never going to work.
No, but can we make him a better person? Can we give him a chance of living a bit longer? Can we give him a chance of not being dependent on drugs?
How?
Well, the system needs to change.
And what way would that? What way
You
would you
need to
change
get
it?
Anne-Marie on, and she's far better at me than how to get these people.
Anne-Marie would probably say that you need a lot more, probably tax a lot more people and stuff like that.
No, you don't. And I've never heard Anne-Marie say that.
I would be surprised if Anne-Marie
We
didn't
need to
think the
tax
welfare
people more.
system.
See, I
She
said
didn't
that-
want more money in the welfare system.
This is madness,
Be surprised
right?
that she said that.
This is madness. That it's the only, we think the only way out of any problems is by taxing people more.
No, I don't. I think we need more productive stuff. We need the
100%.
grassroots stuff. We
Do you
need
know
to
what?
go into
I laugh.
Postal and Springburn and tell people you can live your dream.
Do you know
You go to school in Postal and you go there, and your dream is to be a drug dealer.
It's
Your
madness,
dream
isn't it?
is to be a gangster. Your dream is to be a
But
criminal. How do you stop that?
Well, I'll tell you quite simple, right? I love these Twitter spaces, X spaces, right? Because it's great when you don't get lunatics on, even folk that don't agree, you can get a good blather, right? Good Scottish word, that.
Good blather.
And it was months before Trump won. And somebody came on and went, Craig, you get into Scottish Holyrood. What you got to do? Because it's all right saying, what I'm on it's everything and say that's rotten. What are you going to do? I said, well, hold people accountable. And what I'd do is you then get access to things. And I was fed up hearing about everything's free. Everything's going to be free. And life's not like that. And this free education actually keeps people out of education, which is a whole other topic. Happy to talk about that as well. And I said, what we need is we need people in there that will look and make sure, see the money. If somebody creates another thing that needs fixed, they go, oh, well, we need to create more money. And the only way of getting money, if you're a country, is taxing people. Whether it's stealth taxes, income tax, doesn't matter, right? So you come up with a new thing that's going to be fixed, right? And it's going to cost us 100 million quid. Well, the only way to balance the books is to take 100 million pound off everybody that's here. And what way you want to divvy it up. Or you can't get this extra 100 million. And all we do, we keep looking at, nobody's ever been like that. Can we get better value out of that? Do we need to spend that? And in 1.5 hour, I figured out it could save £500 million on one thing. That was buses, right? I thought, well, how many other things is there? And this free baby box, that's the maddest thing in the world. I've got 2 kids that were born before free baby boxes were a thing, right? And every time we left the maternity, we got hundreds of stuff. Right? Because see if you're Johnson & Johnson and you make fortunes out of baby powder, the best person to get in front of is somebody like me who's had their first wean. So if you get 50, because I think there's 50,000 weans born a year here, 50,000 sample sizes, and get to 50,000 people as they walk out of Rotten Rose, it was at the time when my first born, and you put that in your cabinet and you put it in your wean's arse and you go, well, that was quite good, and he never went red. Well, that's empty now. I'll buy that out of Asda, right? And there was nappies for Pampers, and there was all this stuff.
Aye.
Because it's a great marketing
I've seen them. I've had a couple.
Right, but this is pre-baby box. I got all this stuff, right? But we spend hundreds of millions a year, right, on these stuff. And the only thing that's actually different from what you got before with the baby box thing is the fucking box, right? So all you do is you go, right, Craig's in Holyrood. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, right, Johnson & Johnson's, get a minute, right, I need a few 50,000 of them, 50,000 of them per year for the next 3 years, right? Do you want sole provider rights to that? Much you paying? I'm not paying you anything. Because you've done it before, right? So we get whatever's in the box, and we got all these people to use it for nothing, right? But we pay for it now. So the only benefit that you've got now is this bloody box. Now anybody that has to put their newborn kid into a cardboard box, that breaks my bloody heart, right? Imagine having the indignity of having your wean out of the hospital and the first night's sleep in your house is in a bloody cardboard box. That is horrific, right? So
But it's a reality.
Aye. So what we do is we stop giving everybody a free baby box, but you give them the same stuff that's in the box. And Big Craig's went round Johnson & Johnson and all these billionaires that you don't like and got stuff off them for free to give out to Scottish people,
They
right?
don't get it.
They do it. I've done it before. I got it, right? So let me finish.
Aye, I know what
So
you
now,
mean.
now you save all these hundreds of millions of shit and shite that we're giving away that we could have got for nothing if anybody had half a clue and understood how marketing works, right? We could have got all this stuff for nothing. And the only thing you don't need to give away is a baby box. And then you put in a scheme for grants, which is proper, what's the physical based, what's the word we're looking for? Where, see if you genuinely can't afford a baby crib that your weans are probably were in and some aunties probably bought and you don't have that support network around you. When I had my firstborn, they were all fighting who bought the crib, right? Probably the same, right? See if you've not got that support network around about you, we've got a process in place that guess what? We'll give you a crib. So your wean doesn't, and you don't have the indignity the first night out of that hospital, right? We would save hundreds of millions of pounds, right? But we don't. We think, oh, we need more money. Now, if we could get 10 projects like that, mate, there's billions of pounds. I contacted somebody who's at director level in NHS down south. And I said, right, I get to Holyrood and I want to save money. What's the biggest place I can save money in the NHS? He went, right away, bank nursing. Okay, much can we save in bank nursing? probably 500, was it 40 billion? A big figure,
Aye,
right?
aye.
Hunters, right? Like,
Mhm.
as you were saying,
Sorry,
years.
what's bank nursing?
Bank nursing's a great process. So, say you're a manager in a hospital and you need 12 staff, right? And 2 of them are off sick, one's away on holiday, and one's in maternity leave, and you can't run your ward next week because they're no back on holiday yet, right? You get into the bank nursing system where there's people who are registered nurses that either don't have a full-time job, don't want one, or they have a job and they're quite happy to take extra hours, right? So then you go into the bank nursing system, you bring them in. Obviously, the system makes them dough. So if you're paying them £15 an hour, you might need to pay them £30 an hour. The woman gets a £15 or maybe she gets £20, right? That's the bank nursing system.
That sounds good to me.
Great.
I would need to look into it, but I mean, it sounds...
It's what we've had for years. But what's happening now is, see the person that does look after the staff in that department, that ward, or whatever, that area of NHS, they've got that much other shit to deal with, that they've got that many folk that the staff now all become bank staff. You with me? So we're no going, oh, hold on a minute, we've actually only got 4 permanent staff here, and we're bringing 8 in, but it's no, the 8 aren't replacing stuff that's on holiday, and right?
So it's badly run NHS.
It's taken instead of, right?
So how do you, so see, like, if you were to, because I agree with that, holding your, if I'm a moderate socialist and I believe in a welfare system, free education, and I believe in all this stuff, you need to hold people accountable and look at the outputs.
100%.
Right? Look at the outputs, but we look at inputs, right? And Ash Regan actually said that, and she was actually really nice as well. I actually liked Ash Regan.
A lot of time for Ash Regan.
So she was talking about we need to look at inputs instead of outputs. Now that kind of struck me because we don't. We look at output. We look at inputs. But I think do me a favour, right? See your films, right? See your films, right? See your wee things. Do me a favour, right? Walk round Postal, Maryhill, Rockazy, right? Easterhouse, and see what get a feeling for the hopelessness in it, right? And I mean, I love these are my people, and that's the people I speak for. When I speak about these things, these are the people that we should hold. The people with money should be able to get the person, because there will be one that breaks the chain 100%. In the family, right?
You asked me a question.
One that will break the chain in the family.
You asked me a question that we went away for. I want to come back to it, right? And you says, how do we fix it? How do we, I said between 1 in 4 and 1 in 5 children will never put any money into the public purse. That's horrific, right? Now, I hate the bad rep that kids get. I've been a volunteer football coach for 17, 18 years, right? I see kids for all the planet, all different demographics, and some cases would break your heart. And the odd time you don't know what is going on in that kid's life till they turn up at training, and see some of the times when circumstances mean you do need to find out.
It's horrifying.
You wonder how that went.
Yeah.
Right. So I've got a lot of some of the ways that I've had to learn their personal situations. I've got so much pride in them that they manage to still go to school, come to their training, with all the disadvantages and stuff that's flung at them. So how do we fix that, right? And this came about, I couldn't believe what I seen one day, and it got me thinking about something, and I thought, well, that's kind of what we just do that and we do it on a bigger scale. And the thing that caught me was, there was an advert put out, we've got a skill shortage of train drivers. And we were considering opening up the immigration to bring in train drivers. Now, I'm like, hold on, that's a 70 grand a year job.
My brother's a train driver, right?
Fortunes, right? We should never have a skill shortage for train drivers.
No.
And I said to, again, in one of these X spaces, they're great for developing how
Go on and listen sometimes. I don't really speak.
Get yourself, I'm going to get you involved in them, right? So, and I went like, here, I've got an idea. I could solve that problem in probably a month. Like, well, how? I went, right, say I get voted in on the regional list for Glasgow, right? That gives me the ability to look and get involved in things all across the city. I don't know how many high schools in Glasgow, but let's say there's 30, right? So I go 2 every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, pick out 2 and put them in that we're going to get into the school on that morning, that school, and I want to speak to everybody that's over 14 that's at the school. And in the afternoon, we go to that school. Probably take a month. And who I'm going to take with me is one person out of the transport department of the government and a person from the train industry. We're going to go and talk to every 14-year-old plus kid that's in school right now in Glasgow and present to them the positives of being a train driver.
Yep.
Right?
I think it makes sense to
Right.
me.
Now, say you speak to, I don't know the size of a school, right, how many, but let's say it was 100 kids. Let's say it was 200, a bigger school, right? If I can't infuse one of them to walk out that door and go, I kind of think I might want to be a train driver. Because Big Craig says you get 50 grand a year to start. Once your training's done, you're going to get, that's mental money. That's more than the people at Holyrood, right, that are running the country.
Me and a drug dealer gets, you know what I mean, stuff like that. But these are probably the analogies that you need to make, eh?
Right, so that, and you infuse, now if you infuse one kid out of the, I don't know the number, it's 30 schools in high schools. That's great. And then see the guy that's the regional guy for Edinburgh, he does the same. See, before you know it, you've solved two problems.
No,
You've solved the problem for the skill shortage.
I think what you potentially could be underestimating is the chaos that's involved in a lot of the places,
100%.
right? I'm not saying, because these ideas are ideas that I've not heard Hamza Yusuf coming up with. No, they are. They will say just tax. Now, when I say tax, but I would just say, if you want to be in the billionaire, you're getting us 2% every year of what you're worth. That's what I would say, and it's all going into society. That's what I would do, right? That's me personally. If you're a billionaire, you've got a responsibility to society.
We don't disagree much here, right?
And I'll tell you where I agree with more than what we disagree.
See with this theory with tax the rich, right? I'm not saying that the tax system's perfect. It needs fixed. And there's maybe lots of loopholes, right? But this notion of just tax them and nobody else, we've all got to put our back in society.
Definitely.
See, if I make 10 grand a year or I make 50 grand a year, I kind of need to put something in.
I know my biases, right? I'm biased. I come from a background where I was in prison and I seen the decimation in prison, right? I've got a lot of friends in there. There's so many good guys in the prison, right? In the prison system that have never had a chance. But I can assure you they're never going to pay into the system. Now, for me to think that they're going to get an opportunity, we'll get you going work at McDonald's. No, you work in Burger King. No, right? You're off your benefits, right? You're not getting it, and we're not looking after you anywhere. No, I cannot buy into that because we need to look after the vulnerable.
Correct.
Our own vulnerable.
But what we can't do is, see the people that want to work, we can't make it financially impossible for them to work. The amount of people I see, and we've all known the stories, they go, I'd need to get a 30, 40 grand a year job because I'm getting that paid. That doesn't make sense either. So you've got people who want out of the benefit system and they would love to provide and and provide to society in other ways, but it's impossible for them because they jump from what they're getting for free when you do nothing. And there's very, very few people, if we're perfectly honest with you, if they could go and get a job and it meant they had the exact same amount of money in the bank at the end of each week, be no working, would actually work. Let's be honest, right? But
I don't know so much, honestly.
I don't think it's 100% either way.
Some guys get £70 a week.
But what else do they get?
That's it.
Right. Well, where do they live?
Probably like in some sort of hostel.
Right. So no paying any digs.
But that hostel is
shite.
Terrible.
100%, right.
So maybe you make better hostels.
So listen to me, my logic, you're actually arguing my logic for me here. Because that guy has not, the hostel might be shite and he would love to have a one-bedroom flat, right? But to do that in Glasgow, they knew he might need to pay £700 a month on the rent, right? So he's got that to get in first of all. He's getting fed the new, he's getting £80. So we might now be at £1,000 already before we factor in any other types of benefits, right? And there will be some who go, well, even if I made £1,000 a month, I'd be no better off, but at least I'd be working. There are some, like let's not kid myself on it.
I mean, again, I've got to disagree there because I know the people, I know the boys that are on the
That's because you've assumed, you know what I mean? That's because you've assumed.
My biases.
No, you've assumed I'm talking about people that you know. I'm not talking about people you know. I'm talking about people that are in the £4 billion a year hotels that we put people into that are the asylum seekers.
Right, yeah.
Right? And you're going, well, that doesn't make sense. And see if we stopped the £4 billion there, let's say, right? And we stopped all how much the cost is to our health service, the what do you call it, the legal aid.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
Is this immigration?
100%. See the total cost. Yeah, it's £4 billion just for the
But
hotel.
see if they want it, right? So say like, I'm going to bring him up, right? I wasn't going to bring him up, but Tommy Robinson, right?
Yep.
Divisive, right? Very divisive.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying that what everything he says is wrong and everything he says. I don't agree with a lot of stuff, right? But very divisive figure, right? Now, the power and the kind of the clout he's got at this moment in time, he's got like a lot of people in the palm of his hands,
100%.
right? He could change things for the better. Now, I don't know what his stance is, but he cuts a lot of people off with certain views that he's got. Somebody like Tommy Robinson, for me, now I'm sure if I met Tommy Robinson, it'd be lovely. I know people that know him, and I know people that, so I'm not getting at him. I'm just meaning him as if he's the big one in the UK. So to me, you're buying into a rhetoric they want you to buy into. So this is where I believe that Machiavelli stuff comes in, the playbook. To me, we need to get a foundation where you go, you got a working class kind of ethic, do you believe we're getting shafted and that we could make a better world?
100%.
That's it. Don't go into the rest of the stuff. And I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong.
There's the reality there, though. There is, the reality is we've got a process and a system that doesn't give enough to some people and gives far too many to others.
Aye.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And your answer is, let's just tax billionaires.
Do you know what I would do? I've genuinely, if I had that down tools.
Right. But what I'm saying is, what we need to do, and this was again a story I started going down a route and ended up over here, done the Billy Connolly, went that way and ended up there, and was before Trump came in, and I was on my space, and I said, look, we need to make see whatever we're spending out the Scottish purse, that we're getting best value.
Mm-hmm.
Trump got elected 2 months later, started a Doge, and somebody went like that was that thing you said. I went, it's mental, innit? Just common sense. Now, I'm not saying Trump's the best guy in the world or the worst guy in the world. It doesn't matter.
No,
but he implemented a process that saved his nation billions of pounds. And he can then use that money for things that nation needs. So what I'm saying is, if we look at all the money we're spending and we want to help other people, we need to get that money from somewhere. So rather doing the default setting for politicians that they've done for eternity is, well, we kind of need to tax somehow. Because see if you've got a business, right? You've got your income comes from sales, your costs go out there, and the difference between the two is what you get to put in your pocket. That's a profit. When you're a country, you kind of need to get it to break even-ish. You don't want to be having loads of money, and you don't want to be creating debt, right? The only income you've got as a country is tax. And the biggest chunk of that is taxing the people that live there. Some of it will come for tax for people importing goods, things like that. But the biggest, if you're looking at a proper business way, now, if we just keep going, we need more money for that, we need more money for that, we need more money for that, then the income's got to come up, and that's coming out of your pocket, right? And the whole thing's just bonkers, right? At some point, we have to say, stop the boat. Pretty apt using that terminology. Let's stop. Let's look at every penny we're putting out, and if we're getting best value, fine. But if we're not getting best value, we need to do something about it.
No.
And then we create money
that
we can put into Anne Marie to go and sort out the drugs.
Yeah,
right?
No, I agree with you. I think like so. There's to me like there's
we could make Scotland better.
Why is that? Why is that
penny off anybody?
Why is that 25% of children in poverty? Like that's a astounding amount of money
in Scotland. Well, you need to ask the SNP because he keep telling us the figures coming down.
So I looked at this. It's been kind of run about that for a long time. It's fluctuated, and it doesn't matter what government, Tory, Labour, whatever. It's kind of fluctuated. It's always been. Now, this is my theory. My theory is that the working class people, we need them, right? We need them at the bottom. We need to keep them. It's an industry. It's an industry. We need like the money that we've got that go into like the like as you say like judicial system, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you solved crime overnight,
you
right?
save money.
If you just say you come up with a plan that solved crime, there was no crime tomorrow, right? You would have no lawyers, you would have no judges.
A lot of pals fly out me if there's no lawyers.
But do you know what? So there's a type of industry there.
Yeah, of course there is.
If you solved poverty overnight,
Yeah.
then there's a lot of people that have now come out, don't need trauma services, don't need drug services, don't need alcohol services, so they don't need. There's an industry and it's horrible to say, but I believe the working class were manipulated to think a certain way, were
Do you know
pushed.
the mad thing is? Right, I've just thought about something. You say you're a socialist,
Yeah.
right? I've been to Moscow.
hmm
I learnt so much in Moscow in 3 days it blew my mind.
I'm a moderate socialist.
Right, but their
Mhm.
idea was everybody was working class.
hmm Which
And that didn't work either.
no, but I don't. I wouldn't think. I don't. I don't think. As I say, is like as a moderate socialist, I believe that you should be allowed to go and enjoy your life if you've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
money. That there should be, but the tax system needs to work. It needs to work, and I mean that in the.
It can work. What we need to do to sort the tax system, right? You could sort the tax system by no taxing anybody any more money. Without putting any rises on the tax system, you could sort the tax system without taking it out of somebody's
You
pocket.
need to explain that to me
Right.
because it doesn't work. It doesn't make sense to me.
Right. We become the Doge of
Right.
Scotland, right? And
Right.
I saved billions of pounds.
So that, by the way, that was like if you look at Doge, that was Elon Musk, right?
Mhm.
They went in there and started looking at a lot of kind of black op money and all that.
Oh,
that was
aye,
going
100%.
like things that.
Do you know how much we give to bus companies as a Scotland? Bus companies,
I would £1 billion.
£500 million on two things alone. So you're probably right because I never looked into it. I looked at two aspects of the money we give to bus companies, and it was £500 million.
Mm-hmm.
You go, that's bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
We're paying bus companies, right,
Mm-hmm.
money to renew their fleet.
Just private, but
Private bus companies, right?
so this is where again I think where if you were taxing people and you were doing it the right way,
But
you could have a.
let me explain, sure,
Mhm.
right? Because you've got this very socialist outlook, which I appreciate and
Mhm.
understand. Where we see these folk at the top of the tree with all the money, we need to tax them more. The reality is they'll bugger off, right?
No, I don't think we just tax them out. Like if you were to say, look, guys, are you interested in humanity? Well, could you give a bit
But
more into it?
that's just ridiculous. That wouldn't happen. You're either tax them or you don't. Yes.
So then
Right.
tax
We've
them.
got a system already.
Do you know what I mean? If
We've
they're
already
not
got a
interested in
system that lets
aye.
them opt into paying more,
Mhm.
right? And it's called charities,
Mhm.
right? Or philanthropy.
Mhm.
That's twice I've said it and I've got it right twice, right? So if they want to opt into it, they can opt into it now. So the only way you would get them to guarantee opt into it is tax them, right? And I just go, stop the bus, right? Because they can leave. And you've already said that the majority that we've got in the UK are no British. So they've got no ties to this country whatsoever. But the way we tax people just now, and the Scottish Government want to tax us more,
Mhm.
which they do, right? And I go, that's bonkers as well.
But
If
they're
you,
taxing all the wrong people.
you're not listening, mate. That's about 3 times I've tried to tell this story. You're
Right.
butting in.
Right, because
Right.
right.
So what you do is you get more people working.
Right.
You save money in the shite that we're spending billions, and I'm not talking about UK here, I'm talking about Scotland, the billions and billions of years that we're wasting, right? And see, before you know it, without taking any money out of anybody's pocket, whether you're a pauper or a prince, right? You've suddenly got more wealth in that country to go and do more things with.
Honestly, I agree with everything you're saying in principle, right? But I think you're underestimating the poverty.
Right. See if all we do, right?
Mhm.
Say Big Craig for some reason became the first minister, right?
Mhm.
He said, see for the next 5 years, we're changing no laws, we're bringing out no new stuff.
Mhm.
All we're going to do is spend 5 years making sure that every penny that this building spends is getting utilised good,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
We would save fortunes,
Yeah.
right? See that fortunes that we've saved without taxing anybody anything, what can we use that for?
Put it in the grassroots and stuff.
100%. I rest my case. So now you see why
I
you can
understand.
have a better society
Mhm.
without taxing anybody anything. Because what we've done for generations is when, we need more stuff. And as I've already explained to you, the only income countries have got are twofold. Taxi people that are here or make a wee bit like duties and stuff, right? If are outsiders, right? But the vast majority is taxing people who's here. And that's all we've done for like generations.
But what you're going to come up against is a lot of politicians who are making fortunes from brown envelopes, from
And
at
that's
90 grand a year that won't change it.
100%. And
So
now,
they won't change it in Parliament.
but
They won't allow it.
this is where we're getting to the question you need to ask me. How are you going to change it?
So how is the SDP going to change it? Or even how would you
It's not even me, it's not even the SDP, right? It's bonkers that we've got 135 politicians in Holyrood.
Mm-hmm. I think it is.
Right.
It's constituencies, something
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I would not see what. By the way, some of the ones that I like are nationalists.
Or
separatists.
A lot of them are useless,
Right?
I know. And
as you've just said about you mentioned her earlier on.
Ash Regan.
Ash.
I like Ash. Aye.
Neil Hanvey.
Mm-hmm.
Met these people.
Neil Hanvey,
Great guy, right? An ex-SNP. I'll leave him out now, but it's an ex-SNP. What do you call it? Cabinet minister that I've got right pally with over the last couple of years, right? Now, on the big question of independence, we're totally apart. But I tell you what, see if you take that, put that aside, go and stick that out there for a minute. Can we make Scotland better? We'd all argue the same stuff, right? And that's what we need for 5 years, right? But the only way we're going to get that is if the people that are in the system ain't changing it, right? The bad people, the ones that, the SNP, I'm going to end up going that Billy Connolly thing and we'll come back to this. I got a lot of people, English people I talk to, and they want me to tell them how bad Scotland is and how terrible the SNP are. And I went, look, that could be a long conversation, right? I'm only going to tell you one stat, and you can work it south for there yourself. I'll give one stat on how good they are in 17 years of power is they have been able to reduce the life expectancy of people in Scotland. Now, without having a bloody war, you couldn't achieve that target if you tried, right? But they managed to do it. So that'll give you an indicator on how incompetent they are. So just accept me, they're mince, right?
No, I agree with it. I agree with the crap.
Right. So they're red rotten at the game. And all they want to do is they want to blame Westminster for everything and accept the responsibility for nothing. Now, here's a concept. Why don't we fill that place with people that are happy to do one thing and take the book of devolved powers, don't use it, abuse it, bring every bit of power out of it that you can for the benefit of the people of Scotland, right? I guarantee you that in one cycle of Parliament, Scotland would be a better place because we don't. And if anybody stands up in that Parliament when I'm there and they want to talk about Gaza, they want to talk about Syria, they want to talk about independence, they want to talk about Elon Musk sending men to the moon, I'll be like that with the big red button. Point of order. Not devolved power. So can we stop talking shite and spend 5 years abusing the devolved powers we've got with the one aim of making Scotland better? Now, if you're happy with that, I don't care what colour rosette you've got on. I'll be your pal in Holyrood. But see if you want to ignore that and you want to spend another 5 years talking about stuff that building cannot fix, I'll not be your pal, regardless of the colour of your rosette. And what we need is, we need normal people in there. And we don't need 135 of them. We need enough to make a difference, and that could be 30 to 40. It doesn't matter what rosette they've got on. It doesn't actually matter what they think of Scottish independence, right? It seems to be some people's only thing they want to discuss. We need people in there that are normal. And they're no in the gravy train, and they're no puppets for the... People keep saying, well, the WF did this. The only way we can make that no happen is cut the links, right? So we're doing the same thing again and getting another puppet that's no Keir Starmer next. It's, another puppet for WF and all that nonsense. Isn't fixing anything. What we need is we get people in there that aren't going to be puppets to these people. And we can start that with Holyrood. And then we've got a chance of making it better. But you will not change the system unless you change the people. And taking one puppet out and putting another puppet in, we'll be having the same conversation in another 5 years. And what we need to do is, we need to get people like Craig Houston, right, that can have different politics with Craig Houston. That's allowed. That hadn't...
even different views on global stuff and stuff.
But we don't need global views.
No, but that's
They're on Holyrood, mate.
That's what
right?
I mean. No, I know
but if we get people that 22 months ago didn't care about politics, but something sparked them in the 22 months to say, I do care now, I want to do something about it, then do what I've done. Put yourself head above the parapet. Go and either look at all the parties out there that you could possibly be a candidate for and find one that suits your politics. And if you don't, then consider being an independent. If you're the type of person that wants to make that difference but no get the balls for it, or the time for it, or whatever in your life that stops you doing it, great. Find somebody that is, and go and help them, and go and promote them, and drop off leaflets and canvas for these people, and go into X spaces and tell folk about them, right? And see when that whole thing's done in May 2026, I promise you, see if we get 30, 40, 50 people that are Craig Houston-esque, no clones of me. That's a disaster waiting to happen, right? Imagine running 40 of me. But you know what I'm saying? People want to make a difference that aren't tied to shite. That'll go in there and say, do you know what? I said to somebody, I went, I'll guarantee you something and you don't like me. You'll never vote for me. But see if I get voted in, I'm going to get 2 stickers with the same thing printed on them, right? And I'm going to put one in the sun visor in my car and one in the top right-hand side of my monitor in my computer when I get an office, right? And it'll say the same thing. Remember, you're serving them, no the other way about. So every day I go to my work, it's my sun visor, it's my computer. And if I've got enough pals that see if I did get a bit cocky and a bit above myself, they'll go, no, bigging. But I'll be the biggest driver of that for me. And if we can get 30, 40, 50 people that'll do the same, they'll go to their work every day for 5 years, knowing that I might get stuff wrong, right? But I can put my hand on the heart at the end of 5 years.
I know we need politicians to accept that they're human and they can be wrong and know this. Like, I hate that when you've got a politician rang and you've got him bang your rights and he's still trying to run. You just go,
made an arse of it.
Fucking fuck
well,
that.
That's what. See if Michael Matheson had turned around and went, I made an arse of that.
But he didn't. No, I know, right? I get it.
And that's what done
You're making a lot of sense to me, right? You're making a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm you're making a, you're
you got to vote for me yet?
What? No, but listen, listen, you're making a lot of sense to me, and you've got probably stuff in the locker that I would also like as well, that we had for a different day. But it's I think what you're talking about is right, and I think we do need to look, and I get it, I understand, but you need a good Doge then. Like as in a Scottish, you'd need the right people to go in.
That's after the election. You then I didn't know this until an ex-SNP cabinet minister told me. See, if you become an MSP, see the stuff that you're allowed to do for that point in. Seriously, you can do that? No way. Without being a cabinet minister, without being part of the government, stuff that you've got access to, frighten the life out of you, and I believe it frightens the life out of them. Because what I wouldn't do is, I wouldn't stop doing my 10-minute moans. Can you imagine me a day in Holyrood, right? That's the day finished, I'm away up the office, sit right, I'm just on to record my 10-minute moan for the day and tell you what these rascals are doing. Now, I will slaughter them, right? But I will not slaughter them based on their rosette or their policies. The biggest divider in Scotland right now is the constitutional question of Scotland, right? I've already told you, I like Hanvey, right? I hope he gets voted in, he's a good guy, right? Just one thing I disagree with him about, the rest of the stuff I'm all right. And work together with these people. Right, and the whole
it's
thing.
About uniting, isn't it? We need to unite, but we're so.
We're a horrible country. See the Scotland that I remember. I remember a Scotland that celebrated things together, and it didn't matter what school you went to or what football team you supported. See in Linwood, two of the biggest memories I've got as a kid were the Queen's Silver Jubilee, I'm sure, and the Charles and Diana's wedding. It was see the street parties we had. It was a proper community, right? You try doing that today. Oh, I'm not going to that, right? That's the society we're now. We're splintered now, and what we do is we've got to polarise everybody on everything. You're not allowed see Gaza in Israel, for example. I couldn't really care. I'm not saying I couldn't care people are dying. It's fucking horrific that people are dying, right? I don't like wars. Is that all right? I don't like wars.
I don't like wars.
Right. So can I say I don't like wars, right? But if I've been driven to say that there's only one bad person involved in this war, I'm sorry, I'm not buying the narrative, right? People are dying. Can you just sort the shite out? We can worry about who to blame once we've stopped fucking killing folk, right? But I'm not buying a narrative. And the thing about Holyrood, and this is something that I've heard, I told you earlier, there are 2 pals that I lost to addiction, and the 2 of them, unfortunately, for long periods of their life, they were all right, and then things changed and they went back to normal. But I learnt this thing off of two of them. And I don't care if you're of faith. I don't care if you've got addiction problems. But the two of them taught me this same thing. And I've tried to live my life by it. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the knowledge to know the difference, right? Now, if you then put that on any aspect of your life, can I change what's going on in Gaza? The answer is no, I can't.
No.
Right? Can I change in Holyrood? What's happening in America with Donald Trump or whoever's in charge there? No, I can't. Can I change the constitutional question of Scotland in the next parliamentary cycle? Actually, the answer is no. So why spend the next 5 years trying to change the things you can't? Why not take the stuff that we can change, we can influence, right? And make Scotland a bloody better place. Now, here's the mad thing. I'm a unionist, right? I'm quite. I don't think you noticed, big man. Right? I don't. I don't have a problem with it. And actually, if Craig Houston was successful and cross-party people bought into this sort of stuff, and we made Scotland successful in the first 5 years, it actually makes it easier for the nationalists. But unfortunately, the nationalists, whose job's been to deliver independence for the people who want independence, they went about it the totally separate way. They thought if we blame Westminster and say they're bad for everything, the Westminster are pretty shit. I'm no fan of theirs, right? But you can't blame everything and pass responsibility for everything that you ever do onto somebody else. Again, we've got a lot.
Especially with they're cozied up so close to them. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Like, that's the problem. Is like you've got nationalists who are cozied up very tightly with the UK government and no being truthful. Do you know what I mean? No being truthful about what they're getting and the deals they're doing. And I suppose you would probably need to. I think with Elon Musk, if you take Elon Musk for example, what he done with Doge is exposed a lot of corruption.
Yeah.
If you want to take it and take away the conspiracy theory, blah blah blah, he went in. He was asked, look, go in, and he took away. He looked at every department and went, "You're fucking corrupt here. Why is that money going there?"
And it doesn't even need to be corruption. It could just be value for money. You're not.
No, value for money is a great. That I think that's a big. That's a big booster. I would go for that. That's something that I would be like. What I want to see. All I'm interested in, Craig. Right. All I'm interested in is watching Postal, Springburn, Rocasey, Easterhouse, places where and working class people have got it really rough. It's prospering. That wee Wayne's get the same opportunities as that Wayne and Jordan Hill and Mulgai. That Wayne's get the same opportunities as that. If you put them into care systems and that are overrun.
I don't believe they've no got the same opportunities.
Oh, right? They definitely don't. Craig.
Right, that's fine. But the reason I say that is, right, if there was no opportunities for somebody that was in a council estate, then you would have nobody better than yourself in a council estate. And we all know people that have done really, really well, right, for shitty under,
definitely.
Right? So that proves that the opportunity is there. Now, it might be more difficult, I grant that, but to say people in a deprived area have zero, I'm actually starting to sound like a fucking Tory. See what you've done to me? To say that people in deprived areas have no opportunity, are deprived of opportunity, I can't grab that.
They're deprived of opportunity.
But that doesn't, there can't be, or there would be nobody who would do. We all know people have done fucking brilliant out of really shit stuff.
But what you're then saying is there's no deprivation in Scotland.
Not at all, that's a totally different
thing.
thing.
They're deprived then.
Yeah, but they're not deprived of opportunity.
Of course, if you live in deprivation,
right,
your opportunities are
so
deprived.
If you do not have the opportunity to better yourself from those sort of surroundings, how come people do?
Because some people choose not to have a better whatever that person be. If that person, so just say your environment is you're going home every night to alcoholic parents or whatever, and you're getting abused by your uncle, and then that person in Mulgai is go parents who are alcoholics and is getting abused. I guarantee you that person will probably have a better chance than that person.
100%.
Because
but you're saying that there is no opportunity.
No, there is.
Correct.
There's some people,
So
a small minority of people. What I want to see is every child has got the same opportunity.
Tell me somebody that doesn't want
that. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole, but I think there is.
Who?
I think there's globalists that don't want
Correct.
it. I think there's
so
people...
now we're getting back to the thing. So what we need to stop doing is we need to stop having people in positions of power who are A, attached to them, or B, could be with a couple of pounds flung at them, right? See if we don't ever change that, the next generation will be telling us the exact same stuff, right? We need to, it's like, great analogy. Is it an analogy? What we're doing is we're fixing this problem with methadone. We're just calling it a different drug. We're not stop taking drugs here. That's what we're doing with our whole thing, right? We just go, oh, do you know what? Tories are shite. Let's have Labour. Do you know what? Labour are shite. Oh, so are Tories. Oh, do you know what? We'll have reform, right? You'll get the same, right? You'll just get the exact same. What we need is we need normal people. The people need a revolution, right? But we don't need pitchforks. We need people, the normal people, to say their revolution is, we're going to take these jobs, right? Is there more working class people in Scotland than there is toffs?
Yeah.
Right. So why do working class people not have a Holyrood full of working class people? And by the way, I'm not saying toffs are bad people either. Some of them are really good politicians.
Because the deprived areas, right? The deprived areas.
You don't need to come from a deprived area to be working class, mate.
No, but it's mostly deprived areas that I'm talking about, right? So working class, like obviously I'm from Cumbernauld, is absolutely, there's parts of Cumbernauld that are rough. There's parts of Cumbernauld that are more deprived than others. There's parts of Cumbernauld like Dullater who are like, it's massive. So where I come from, I would say I'm a working class person, but certainly wouldn't say it's a deprived area. Most people, you'll have people that have got council houses, you'll have people who have their own houses. Where I live's kind of mixed that way, and it's quite a good area. Yeah. What I'm trying to, the people that I kind of like to speak for is the people that don't have don't have those opportunities. And what I mean by deprived is deprived of the chat. So I had a pal, one of the cleverest guys I know, right? He's got a PhD and I don't know what, but he works with unis and that now. Done a lifer, right? We brought up Muirhouse with the age stuff and that, right? Was told, you don't go to university.
No, you don't get to do that.
Right, you don't go to university, right? That's the type of stuff we need to change. We need to start giving the working class child the same views and outlooks on the world as the person there.
100%.
So I think that deprived, it depends on how literal you want to take that word. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Deprived to me is less opportunity.
No, I think when you're deprived of something, you don't have it.
Right.
Because that's kind of what the meaning was. If I deprive you of that phone, I'm taking it off you. You don't have it anymore.
Right, okay.
So to say you're deprived of opportunity, I can't cope with that. And not because I'm trying to justify it, but I think that's quite derogatory to people who have been able to go, do you know what? My mum was a junkie and my dad was I never seen it like that. And we all know them that have done wonderful things. So when we say that everybody that's for that environment is deprived of opportunity, well, no, they're no.
Right.
But what we need to do is gain more of them.
We need a lot more. A
100%.
lot more. But no, I get maybe deprived's the wrong word then. Maybe I've kind of overstepped.
I want to inspire people.
Yes.
Right?
Same.
And I love, that's probably why I've stuck it for so long, because it's a shit gig. See, coaching kids football, it's a wonderful thing until parents get involved, right? And we've got some wonderful parents, but the only negatives you get are after 20% that nuggets, right? So the only reason I've probably done it for so long is you just see that one wee kid now and again and you go, we're actually helping that kid. Now, I've won big tournaments and I've produced kids that are in professional clubs now, but some of the biggest things I've taken out of 17 years of coaching kids football is seeing some wee kid and you bump into them in Asda or something and they've now got a win. And they're like, all right, Craig. And you're like, I've not got a clue who this is. And then they remind you and you go, shit, you were that. How are you getting on, son? Where are you working? I'm an engineer. Right? And you go, that Wayne had a single parent upbringing with a ma that never ever seen him play football because she was too busy.
Working away.
No, she wasn't working.
Or mad with it.
Mad with it. And all that, and you know, the what is it, the TikTok, the selfies, and that was more important than I'd buy the way in a pair of boots. And I've done that, and every coach has probably done that at some point.
I can tell, right? Like, just be talking to you, like you've got your value system and your moral compass is certainly not in the wrong place.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
So that's what inspires me, right? And I go, that's probably why I've done this volunteering in kids football, which is a shit gig for so long, because you go, do you know what I mean? They're that Wayne never, he never. No, I'm not saying I'd done anything, but we allowed them to get 2 nights a week and a Saturday morning out his environment. That was maybe enough, and maybe there was somebody at school that invested a wee bit of time in that way as well, that allowed him to take advantage of the opportunities he's got, right? And we need to kind of do that as a nation.
So say take Postal, for example, right? How would you go in there and change that?
I think the biggest influence we've got on young people is the people that spend time with them, right? And unfortunately, it's not parents nowadays, right? It's teaching.
It's peer oriented by your friends now. Your parents, a lot of parents are happy to get a phone, send you away with a phone or whatever. So you're peer orientated by your group of friends. Now, if that group of friends come from a deprived area, most of the time you'll start down the road of drugs, drink, whatever.
It's environmental.
So I suppose it's like, I always say you need to get in at grassroots level. You need to send
100%.
people in, and I'm not saying like people like myself, right, who have been through the prison system, have seen the fucking horrible environment it is, and how people come out at the end of it, like disgusting. Now I'm only here because I'm only knowing a methadone project, no talking to you and with a podcast, because I've got a really good support network. I've done a long time in prison. I'm damaged. I've got PTSD. I've got lots of shit going on, but I've changed, and this is where I have changed, and I've managed to come out the other side of it with a voice, and try and use that voice to for change.
Yeah. Well, how do we sort it? You're actually telling me how we sort it, right? Because what we do is we get enough people to talk to young people.
Yeah.
So I make one of them let's use the example I gave you earlier. So I make one of them inspired to go, I think I'll be a train driver, right? You make one of them go, I'm not going to be a criminal. Because us sports people inspire to do.
Lived experience, right? This is a problem, right? They want it for nothing.
But we need to change that perception.
So it's like,
John, this is impossible. I'll tell you why. Going back to the earth,
at
one point we thought it was flat, and then we believed it was globe, and we were questioning it again, right?
Yeah.
Perceptions can change.
Yeah.
And we can change them a lot simpler by doing stuff than not doing it. Nothing will work if we don't do it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm only one person, and you're only one person. But see, before we know it, you find enough persons that we can make a difference. We don't need to make a difference. It's impossible to make a difference overnight, instantly. That ain't going to happen. And that's why I'm saying to you, if I can inspire one person in each school to be a train driver, and you can inspire one person in each school to get away from crime, and somebody else. Here's one thing that bothers me. See, when you were at school, certainly when I was at school, which I've got a wee bit, that was a wee bit before you, there was lassies there. It may be a bad example, because it sounds like, what's that? Misogynist. There's a word I can't say. Aye, that word.
Andrew Tate.
Aye, right. I remember a hell of a lot of young lassies saying, I want to be a nurse. We kind of don't do that now.
No, you're right.
Right? And I don't know how that came to where it is now. But, and again, if you look at the whole bigger picture, is that, we've got skill shortages, we need to bring more people here. No, we don't. We need to inspire the people that are here to be the next nurses. And we need to get into the 14 and 15-year-olds, maybe even earlier, I don't know. But you get some psychologists to tell you what year we start at to give us the best chance, and we go with that. I kind of say 14, I just built that
I know what you mean.
So we go to them and we inspire them to be nurses, to be engineers, I say civil engineer, to be train drivers, to by the way, not be criminals, to not be dependent on the state, if you can be non-dependent on the state. And see that 1 in 4 to 1 in 5 figure, see in 10 years if we can get that down to 1 in 3 to 1 in 4, then that's a start.
Of course that is, aye.
And we make, and it's, you'll never change it overnight. But if we don't, do you know what breaks my heart, mate? And what people ask me, would you get involved with politics for? And I kind of think the biggest driver, but it was frustration, that was certainly a driver. But I'll tell you what I think was one of the biggest shit I need to do something moments. I think and I fear that we are about to be the first generation in at least modern times, if not the whole of history, that are going to leave the Great Britain or Scotland, however you want to see, paint a picture, in a worse state than the generation that gave it to us. And that breaks my heart. And I think, shit, if that's true, I've not done my piece. None of us in my generation have done what we should be here. And that's bonkers, right? And that's a horrible word in Scotland that people just turn off to when you use it, but that's what conservatism means, with a small c. Not the mad Tories, they're bonkers, right? But you need to conserve what we've got. And that should be enough of an inspiration for enough people to say, we need to hand it. I think as with children, it's easier for us as well. That you go, and that changed that for me. See, as soon as I put that Wayne came out of hospital and put in my lap, and my then wife went to bed because she was burnt out because she'd been in hospital for 3 days. I'm responsible for that now. You're mad.
No, that's mental.
Right, and it got me. And I kind of think that's probably one of the reasons that I want to make change. And that's it. We need to at least try and so when they put me in a box, we might not have made it a better place at that time, but at least we're starting to turn the boat, you know.
No, I get it. I think, like, obviously, as we spoke about before, I touched on it, like just a wee bit. I'm like, I believe that this is a kind of manufactured, whatever you want to call it, and I suppose my question would be, how do you dodge? I mean, obviously we're coming up to the kind of end of the podcast, but how do you dodge the kind of separation tactics? How do you dodge that? How do you kind of
between the people up here and even local government, Holyrood and Westminster? Just the people.
Why?
It's got to be the people, because if we keep replacing duff politicians, and there is a train of thought that say that people like Starmer and people others that you know Boris and stuff, they had people above them telling them what to do. Now let's ignore the fact. Let's not have a debate on whether that's true or it's not true. Right? No. Let's just say it's possible. Well, if we keep voting in more Borises and Starmers, when we're going to get the same, it doesn't matter the colour of the zet. Which is why I'm saying we need to start a revolution. And the revolution isn't guns and rape. Do
you believe that there could be like voting or rigging and stuff like that? Or do you think
I'm not prepared to go there just yet.
Yeah.
But what I will say to you, mate, is there's a lot, my own personal journey over the last 22 months, I actually sometimes wish I hadn't bothered. Because I know things now and I've learnt things and I've realised things that
opens up cans of worms.
I just go, do you know, see the old Craycoos, and life is a nicer place, right? And there's certain things that I wouldn't have listened to 22 months ago, that now what I will say, I think the safest and easiest way to say is I will not ignore the possibilities of a lot of things now.
Which, by the way, is like a kind of leader of a party, I think is commendable, that you're willing to kind of, you're willing to be open. Like, that's a lot of people, aren't they? A lot of people are scared because they can make it branded in a certain way or whatever. And I think, so I commend you on that.
Thank you.
I think
it's again my own journey. I mean, mic drop, penny drop moment, don't know what one's true. When I was sitting in Lesbos myself, I've got no backup, I've got no cameraman, I've got no security with me, and I seen shit that I was really uncomfortable with, and I went, what is going on here? And I started while I was still there investigating, which was probably bonkers as well, because I just waited till I was away, but I certainly felt safer. And the penny drop, and I went, the EU decide who comes to Europe. No Greece, no Italy, no Spain. As soon as they put that force into place, into your country, you have lost the sovereign right of your controlling your borders. And what they're telling you is the EU's army, called the Frontex, they're telling you, see, if we're in your country, we'll decide who comes in and who doesn't. And if you try to oppose that, we're going to sanction you. Now, that's not a conspiracy theorist video on the internet. That's their own website, right? And we're going for 2,500 to 10,000. And you suddenly realise, hold on a minute, well, that means there's a body above countries, it just happens to be called the EU, who are actually controlling these countries. Blatantly. Not even hiding it. So when you start getting into stuff like that, and then you go, Christ, the UN cannot be building 5 centres for asylum seekers in Greece alone that they're not going to fill. There's a game there.
Of course.
Right. So when you
prisons and that, and you only build prisons if you know that crime's going to rise. Do you know what I mean?
So you kind of when the penny drops with me with stuff like this, I go, shit. Some of me just wishes I hadn't known.
But it's good that you're willing to even explore it.
You got to.
You know what I mean?
I mean, and I keep going back to the Earth is flat or the Earth's a globe. I don't know. I don't care, right? But the people who, when it was flat, started saying it was round or globe to start with, they were conspiracy theorists.
And you're talking about guys like Leonardo da Vinci and all that. So you're talking about, it was very enlightened people.
Right,
at the
so
time.
day one,
aye,
the first guy to go,
yeah.
hold on a minute. This thing isn't flat.
Mhm.
Photo like that. Check him out. Listen to David Icke, right? That's kind of where we are. So, but the cute way is not being David Icke.
No.
The cute bit is being, let's look at things.
Aye.
And I kind of hope that my investigative stuff, going to Greece, going to the crazy places I've got planned to go to soon, get people to go, hold on. Now, one of the trips that I'm really looking forward to, and it's not going to be the next one. The next one's a real dangerous one. I've got an ex-Marine one to go with me with a flak jacket on. Right, it's that dangerous, right? But I kind of want to go to Israel. And what I want to do in Israel is, everybody knows the people in the street, you know, the lowest class, that's the ones in Gaza, right? It's no nice. They're dying, right? They're being murdered. They're being killed. There's a war going on. It's a horrible thing, right? But nobody, not one outlet I've seen, says, what's the story like being in Israel? For the normal people, no Netanyahu, normal people, no Netanyahu, no the IDF, right? No Mossad, normal people. I've got a group of people who are trying to get me lined up to go there and speak to, and I've only said that the only way I'm ending here is if you can guarantee me I can speak to Jews, because there's like loads of them, Christians, Muslims. You'll take me north, south, east, west, right? And even up to the gates of Gaza. If I can't get into Gaza, I wouldn't be too bothered about if I didn't get it right. I don't want to die, right?
No.
To tell the story of what it's like for these normal people. The people that, because we're getting like the picture painted that they're all good and they're all bad, whatever way you want to argue it, and I'm sick of it, right? I just want, and I reckon by doing that, we'll learn more about what's going on in that place than listening to anybody on any side of the argument.
So see if I agree. I think that's a great idea, by the way, right? But
You want to come with me?
no, I'll take it. Don't hold me, but so my outlook on this, right, is and you might say, look, Sean, I'm not really wanting to hang it, but Netanyahu funded Hamas, tried to control both sides as a day, never really worked out for him. I think there's probably very few people that could say 7th October 7th. Well, there was an awful lot of things went wrong on that day for that to be able to happen. It was a massacre. Yeah. It was horrible. It was disgusting. What Hamas done, right? It happened.
But that's the kind of thing I can't. That's it. I've tried for 2 years not to take a side in this, right? And people don't accept that because we're in Scotland. You've got to take a pot. You've got to be wearing a did you see the photos I put on last night with the thing? Right, you've got to wear them scarves, or you've got to.
I'm purely Palestine, but I, for the normal Jewish person, I love Gabor Mate. I love all his stuff.
That's another thing I want to do. I want to talk to politicians in Israel that oppose Netanyahu. Yeah. Right? Because I think that's important as well, because too many people go, right, so see that whole country and every single person in that, they're no terrible people. Yeah. That's not true.
No.
That's never the case.
A big movement of Israeli
but
people
I tell you,
like Netanyahu.
Do you know what I think? One thing I'll agree with you on, and I'd hate talking about Palestine and Gaza and Israel, right? But I kind of think, see when people shout free Palestine, well, I kind of don't think that's an issue. But I'll tell you the biggest thing that can make them free, no Hamas, because they're no nice people.
No.
And I think having no Hamas would have a bigger benefit, positive benefit, to the people of Gaza than having no IDF. How bonkers is that for a thought?
No, I get. I mean, obviously, like I only look into it, as I say, and what I see is a genocide. But that's only my opinion, and I get people look at it for different views, and there's whatever your lens is, and their biases as well. There's biases here. Me personally, I think anybody that says what's happening in Gaza isn't shocking. I don't get it, right? I don't get it.
Kids are dying, mate.
Yeah. And
right?
Kids,
but see
kids are sacred. They should be sacred.
I was a manager too young in my life, right? And I was shit at it, right? And what would happen is, see if something went wrong, and I ended up using this in relationships as well. My first default was, who's to blame? Who's to blame? Who's to blame? Who's to blame? I realised when I got to be a bit more mature that what you kind of need to do is fix the problem. That's more important than the blame. That might come down the line because you might need to learn from your mistake, right? But see, when the shit happens, the shit hits the fan, the first thing we need to do is solve the problem. We can apportion blame further down the line if we need to. But the world goes about everything the opposite way. It's all blame culture, right? Now,
which keeps us divided.
Right. So we're not going to sort out the Middle East by having bun fights. I think I heard the lunatics going down the road today, right? How do they think that doing that on a Saturday afternoon in Glasgow is going to solve any problems in the Middle East when folk in the Middle East have not been able to solve them for hundreds of years, right? A beggar's belief, right? But what we want to do, we want to apportion blame to every situation. But that never solves the problem. So you got a problem. And even Trump, I think Trump's great value, right? And I know why, I can understand why people don't like him, but I kind of do, because I like things that aren't normal. And he's not a normal president, right? No. And you're never going to find one that you're happy with 100% of the time. And what he said he's trying to do the new is he's trying to sort out Ukraine. Well, people have been trying to apportion blame for Ukraine for years, and they'll never sort the problem. The only way you'll sort the problem is solving the bloody problem. Now, what is it you want out of this fight? Well, we believe that, but people there see themselves as Russians, so we kind of want them. What you try to do? Well, you're trying to protect the borders, right? Well, we're not going to make you happy. So unless we can wipe each other out and see who's left standing at the end and then decide on a bit of grunt who gets that bit of the map, or we can just try and get the adults in the room and talk, how can we get to a medium that you're happy with and you're happy with, and more importantly, you can take back to your people and they'll be happy and they'll want to vote you out and vice versa. That's how we sort shit, right? But no, what we have is a whole world wanting to blame folk. Putin's this. What's the boy for Ukrainian boys? Zelensky's that. Hey, look, right, I don't need to hang a Russian flag up or a Ukrainian flag up outside my house.
No, I mean, my thoughts on that again are like, I don't, like you go back. I mean, what you're doing is you've got people in power who feel they're getting wronged on both sides, right? That's always going to be the case. But people, when you've got these things, we don't know enough. We don't know enough. I've read a lot into Palestine and Israel, but that is it's a minefield, right? And I'm always going to take Palestine's side, right? But it's irrelevant. Why would I take Palestine's side? Because
why do you need to take any side?
I would always take the side that I believe are getting persecuted.
Okay.
So, but I don't know where Hamas comes into what's happening now.
Right. See if Hamas never done what they done on September 11th, would we
what's
have
Hamas
this?
got to do? Palestine's not a state. What's Hamas got to do with the 2 million people that's there?
What do you mean?
So
they're meant to be ruling it.
Palestine's not a state, right?
Yeah.
It's never
They're
been a
meant to
state.
rule it.
It's never been a state,
Correct.
so they're not a government, Hamas, right?
No, they are a government.
No, they're a if they
No,
can't
they're a government,
they can't be a government if they're not a state.
Well, you can't. Well, okay, so is Scotland a state?
But they've not got devolved powers. Palestine's
I
not,
have.
They're not recognised as a state. They're not recognised.
Either Scotland. We still have a government.
Scotland's got a devolved government. It's very
You've
different.
got a devolved government.
Very different.
How is it very? How can you possibly doing two things? One, you don't know the devolved power Scotland's got or the devolved powers Hamas had.
Right, but it's so different. It's no like we're no under attack by England. We have been in the past, and we've seen how that ended up. Do you know what I mean? We've seen how that ended up. That ended up in a war for many years.
Yeah.
So that's what happens when somebody tries to occupy Scotland. We fought back.
Yeah.
Right? So that is what's happening, right? Hamas have formed, whether you like them or no, I'm not agreeing with Hamas, but they're fighting back. They believe that Palestine's theirs.
Well,
right?
Gaza's theirs.
Right, Gaza.
Because Palestine, for people who feel that it's the West Bank and Gaza.
Aye, so
right?
Palestine.
So Hezbollah look after the West Bank and Hamas look after Gaza.
So, right, so even if so take Hezbollah and Hamas away, right, you think Netanyahu would give that up now and just stop the war? If Hamas was disbanded.
I kind of think they would have no option.
So if Hamas disbanded, there is
no disband. They just pop up in our name. Even if you say right, that's the problem you've got in that area, right?
Yeah.
But that bit of land, right, was given to you govern it yourself. They had an election. Hamas won it, fairly or unfairly. They were a political movement, and they became to govern that piece of land.
Yeah.
Not with full autonomous powers because it's part of Israel,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then shit happened,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some quite horrific shit.
Yeah.
That's why they're now a prescribed terror organisation by the world, not just people.
But see, if you look at like, so say take like the Troubles, right? Take the Troubles,
Which was
MI5 and MI6,
Which was a
right?
war.
Which definitely was a war.
100%. The only reason we didn't call it a war is we didn't want to have a
MI5 and
civil war.
MI6 were heavily they were involved in both paramilitary groups.
Yeah.
Right. I would argue Mossad are heavily involved in the Hamas. That I would argue.
Nah, I don't argue against that. And I'll
So
tell
why
you why.
you think Netanyahu would give £15.5 billion to Hamas without having any watcher in there?
I think he's been stiffed over. Do you know why? It's why Hamas leaders are all living in Qatar. They've robbed that place blind, mate. Right? And go and Google, right? The richest Hamas leaders. Where do they live? Right? And it'll come up with 5 billionaires. These people you don't like. They're all living in Qatar.
Right.
Well, so how did they equate their Hamas? How did they
probably robbed the poor people again.
100%.
But
right.
why is the poor people getting killed now then? That's what I'm saying. Like they're still killing people they knew.
Hamas have not gave up. There was a peace treaty done, right?
Right.
And Hamas did not.
So kill innocent people.
Hold on a minute, mate.
You know
You're
what I'm
asking me a
talking about?
question.
No, but that's what's happening, Craig.
Do you know what? You're actually... I think it's the fairest way to say this so we don't take offence. I don't mean offence. I like you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're becoming one of the people who don't want to listen.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There was a fight going on.
Mm-hmm.
The two people, whether there was a third party or not, decided we're going to have a ceasefire with a hope of having peace.
Yep.
Right? These are the terms we need to agree. Are all the hostages back? The answer's no. Right? So the minute you don't, regardless of who's right, wrong, or indifferent.
I know, but what's that got to do with the working class people that are getting
Unfortunately,
shot?
bugger all.
I know.
Right?
So I suppose...
What about the working class people that are hostages? What about the working class people that are the families of the hostages?
I think it's terrible for
Of
them.
course it is. So let's finish the shite.
Right.
And we can worry about
but we can't
blame
finish the shite
later.
if people keep saying we need to get rid of Hamas. How do we do
I
that?
didn't say we need to. What I'm saying is to stop the war, we need them to the conditions of the ceasefire, which they've still got hostages and
But
tunnels.
they're not willing to do that.
Correct. So then you need to take them out.
So how do you do that?
Go in and blow them up.
Right, but they're not doing that. And
Well, they kind of have.
You're not going to tell me that Mossad haven't got the you were talking earlier about how good the...
See where they done that mob in, where was it? Syria.
With the phones? Aye. Well,
that's going to be the best thing in the history of
listen,
espionage ever.
these people could kill Hamas if they wanted to, right? I
want to finish this.
Aye, because it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. We both see it differently.
Not at all. What I will say is, I'm quite happy to accept that it's a shit thing that's going on.
Yeah.
But I'm quite happy to accept that there's fault on both sides.
Yeah.
But you appear to not want to accept that. You want to appear to accept that it's only Israel's fault. And say somehow they created Hamas, so it's their fault anyway. And I can't agree with that.
Yeah.
It's a shit thing. People should stop that.
It is a shit thing.
But I think I'm open to the opportunity. What's the word I'm looking for?
I'm open to Hamas being a bad people,
horrible people.
but I'm not open to it being anybody for Palestine's fault. That's it.
Hamas are for Palestine.
But it's that's so that's like England going, do you know what? We're going to kill everybody in Scotland because SNP have started the war.
What it's like is it's like an English group that are into politics and paramilitary things, killing folk anywhere else, and people saying they're a bit shit, but they are English. Of course they're English, but they are Palestinians. They are Gazians. Whatever the term is for people for Gaza, I think it's Gazians, right? Hamas are Gazians. They are from that area called Gaza, right? But oddly enough, and I know you will because you're an intelligent boy and you quite like digging into things, go and look at the people who are there, right? And where they originated from. And the only reason I started doing it was because of Hamza Yusuf. And his family that are there, or his wife's family, are the Al-Naklas. And you can Google it quite easily and you'll find out where the Al-Naklas are from. And guess what? It's not on any side, any border of how you want to cut up Israel, right? And then you look at, well, what's the other prominent families in that area? And there's 5 tribes, right? And these 5 tribes are the people that put the top men into Hamas. And another strange thing is that it's like any other place with a hierarchy, right? The Soviets were cracking at it. because everybody was equal apart from the ones that were less equal than or more equal than others. And you find out where the neighbourhoods are,
Aye.
right? And see anybody that stayed in a nice neighbourhood, they were Hamas, right? So Hamas have got all the nice houses because that's how all horrible people work and operate, right? All these horrible people that run countries badly. So all them and their pals have all got the nice houses in the nice neighbourhoods, right? And everybody else is sort of flung away. I find it peculiar that Hamza's father-in-law was for a nice area.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want to say in the matter.
No, and listen, I'll finish it because it is. I mean, you could go around in circles, and it's listen again. It's one of the topics that's it's always going to divide people, and this is where I think we need to stop even going there, because the way that it can get like heated for no reason, right? And I'm not saying that we had a healthy debate there, right? And we just
enjoyed it.
I've really enjoyed it, and I've actually get no doubt that your moral and value come. That
I just don't like. I'd like the thing to stop.
So would I.
Right, and
I would want all wars to stop. All wars.
Do you know what? I can even see fault on the Russian and Ukrainian. Now, what you can't dispel about that war was Russia invaded the part of the world we call Ukraine. Right, that's kind of factually accepted. But I kind of don't like that either. I'm just like going to sit around a table and sort shit out.
I know.
See the blame culture, we can do that later. Whereas what too many people, in my opinion, are, they're like, no, there's got to be one person that we blame here, and it's Israel. That's not one person, that's a whole nation, right? But you hear where I'm going. And these people are all brilliant, and these people are all bad. Life's never like that. It's never been like that.
No.
Right? But I think I think you will, because I've said things and I can see your head going like, is that fucking right what Biggin said, right? You'll go away and check it. And if I've said anything that's wrong, I'm sure you'll text me, right? And I just think it's not healthy for society to be taking sides and go, well, it's all their fault, it's all their fault. Can we just stop killing folk?
Yeah.
And then we can see after it, we can have sanctions, we do all that once we stop killing folk. I would really like that.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm not going to do is be brainwashed with a narrative that it's one group's fault and no another, right? When horrific things have happened on both sides.
Definitely.
Terrible, terrible thing.
Definitely.
Right? But, and to say, I don't know how you solve it. Is that a two-state thing? I don't know.
I know.
Right? It's not my bag.
I know.
But I ain't going to be told that they're all bad and they're all good.
No.
These people murdered people.
I think Netanyahu's government's are bad people. That I don't have
but
anything
he's
to
not-
do with
he's
Jewish.
not-
And anybody, I've been called racist before because I've said it. I'm an anti-Netanyahu government.
Consider the next time you hear somebody shouting for the river to the sea, and what that actually means. Because not to people out in that George Square that don't know what they're talking about, right? But to people from that area, that means annihilating the whole people of Israel. Now, if you genuinely believe the people of Palestine came from a place called Palestine, fine, great, right? So that means everybody's allowed a place. So if the Israeli, and predominantly the Jewish people, are wiped out of Israel, where have they to go?
No, I don't think. I think a two-thing state, but I'd be happy with that.
Right. So if that's the way it is, great, let's do that, right?
But it's,
and let's stop fucking shooting people.
I know.
But the thing that I always, and I go to people, are you daft? Like, that whole area was Palestine. Was it? Okay. Who came from a place called Judea? Take a guess. Why was it called Judea? Oh, because the Jews came from there. Jerusalem, the writing is on the wall. You with me? So people go, oh, no. Well, aye, that's where the people came from. See the Bible. I don't believe it doesn't even matter if you've got a man of faith or not. There's things in it are factual and historical facts, right? Who came out of Israel? The Israelites escaped being slaves in Israel. In Egypt, I beg your pardon.
By Egypt,
in Egypt. So he came from, right?
Yep.
But there was no Israel. How could there be no Israel if the Israelites escaped from Egypt? And a book written 2,000 years ago.
Because the way it worked was like, have you read the Bible before?
On occasion.
So obviously in the Old Testament, like Moses set out blah blah blah, and then gathered the people, but the people were enslaved before I think they had land, and then they were obviously given the land, like in God's land and stuff like that.
So this is a story over 2,000 years ago. This is Old Testament, right? So this is 2,000 years plus. Right. So what we've established now, there was Israelites in that area.
Yep.
Right. Where have they to go? And if we now establish that,
I don't think that. I don't go like.
Correct. Right.
You know
what I'm saying is, the first mentions of Palestine are in 2 occasions. The Romans using it as a slang,
was it known the Byzantines in that way back then?
The Romans that started
Alexander the Great in that?
The Romans used the word
I'll need to look
Palestine,
into it because
right?
I'll need to look into it because.
So we know that there was Israelites in that area. We know is there any mention of Palestine in the New or Old Testament?
No.
Right. So we've now figured out the Jewish people, the Israelites, were of that area, right? And the first mention we've got is like 80 years ago. Now, I'm not saying that they people that are there,
because
right?
if you done that with every single state, you would be all over the place.
You could rewrite, every map in the world,
Do you know
right?
what I mean?
So we go, when do we say that's how the
stop?
country was,
Like,
right? Which is a great argument the next time I'm talking to a nationalist, right? So, so it's just all bollocks, right? It's total bollocks. Now, what I'm not saying is, see if the people who are predominantly, if not all, Muslims who are in Gaza want to have an area that they want to govern themselves and they want to, have even Sharia courts. So, crack on, fill your boots. Who am I to tell you not otherwise, right? But we can do that without having a terrorist organisation who are intent on wiping out Israel in control. And the other thing is, if you want to free Palestine and you want to go back to the original Palestine mandate, well, go and start champing the door of the Jordanians, because they've got that first ever Palestine mandate, British mandate for Palestine. 77% of that map is now Jordan. But nobody wants them wiped out. Nobody wants them not to exist anymore. But the only crackpots that you have, they go, oh, well, that's that's Palestine. Oh, no, I know that, but over there.
Aye.
You go, well, the rules that you're trying to use to justify having this state and wipe out Israel.
Again, see, to be honest, actually, Hamas, Netanyahu, again, they're just elites to me, right? And if what you're saying is like these families, they're elites, it's the working class people again all the time that get that are hanging. Do you know what I mean? It's the working class people that get hammered. Do you know what I mean? And that's where I feel as if.
And that's it's been repeated for as far back as anything goes, isn't it?
It's just, and it is. It's like Craig. I'm obviously going to need to kind of tie up, but it's been. I've absolutely loved it. I've loved the conversation. I've enjoyed it.
I wish we hadn't touched Gaza and Israel.
So do I.
So
do I.
So much other stuff.
I wasn't going to go there. Do you know what I mean? Because it is such. It's just it's a topic that I don't think when we're talking about Scottish politics we need to go there. But I mean, listen, it is what it is.
It's topical.
I know.
But I'm glad we had a debate, and I'm glad that it wasn't two folks saying the exact same stuff, because that's not healthy either. But I want to go there, and the reason
look into the Rothschilds, but with Lord Balfour.
I know all about them, right? And who set up all these things like UNs and stuff. We're there, right? But I'm deliberately not going to be that guy.
No.
And as I've already explained, coming for a conversation for John Watt. But that doesn't. See if you go at it, there was some bad people done some bad things 80, 90 years ago. So we're just going to see that as a defence for other people doing bad things. You can't do that.
No, but I think it's the same people. I mean, listen, you're going into territory where, I mean, as you say, it was written a long time ago. What we need to do now is solve it. And to solve it, I don't know. I've not got a clue. I just don't like watching.
First thing, it helps. The only way you're going to get to the start of the solving programme is stop firing bombs and bullets at each other.
Yeah.
And without that, you can't move on. Nothing can.
No, I agree. Totally agree. And but listen, I honestly, I can't thank you enough for coming on. It's been a great debate. I've enjoyed it so much, and I hope hopefully we'll have you on again at some point.
No, I'm not coming back.
Social sessions. No, honestly, Craig, love it.
Enjoyed it, mate.